My former roommate Ivy, who graduated 4 years ago, got married and asked us to be her bridesmaids. We covered all our own travel, accommodation, and attire costs, and there was no monetary gift from her. We arrived at her rural hometown at 6 a.m. the day before to help her decorate the new marital home. After the wedding ended the following evening, we made our own way back from the countryside. Out of some lingering sisterly affection, the three of us still showed up with our red envelopes, ready to play the fools. We endured the humiliation of those crude rural wedding night pranks, only to be rewarded with her introducing us as, "These are my three maids." The groom was my ex-boyfriend from university. At the wedding, we had to listen to the story of their 8-year romance, where our embarrassing dorm photos and mishaps were used as a backdrop to highlight the bride's elegance and grace. We finally couldn't take it anymore and smashed the big screen. That night, I woke up in my college dorm to find Ivy showing off the red waist pouch a suitor had given her. Out of the 4 people in the dorm, 3 had been reborn and 1. I already told him I don't need any makeup, but he insisted on giving me this, and on Christmas Eve of all nights, such a suggestive time. Do you think he's into me? Ivy was taking pictures with the red waistline serum, showing it off, whether intentionally or not. Little did she know, the way I looked at her had already changed. Without anyone asking, she went on. By herself, the senior said his girlfriend isn't as pretty as me and doesn't have as good a figure. Is he hinting at something? He even asked me out tonight, but I don't have that kind of intention at all. At the same moment, my phone rang. My boyfriend sent a dorm selfie, followed by a 520 yuan digital red envelope. The caption read, "Sorry, sweetie. I can't be with you on Christmas Eve because I'm swamped with assignments. I'll buy you a gift once I earn some money from my part-time job." In the corner of the photo was an open Shiseido Ultimian power-infusing concentrate box. The cheap taste makes me sick. No wonder he and Ivy had an 8-year relationship. He's already moved on to someone new. Ivy was wearing my Gucci coat, carrying my Chanel bag, and spritzing on some Joe Malone while saying, "Tiana, no date with your boyfriend. I'm so jealous of you. I got booked for Christmas a month ago." It's like those guys have never seen a rich, beautiful girl before. I'm going to the library tonight. Just leave my clothes and bag there. I'll need them. Ivy was stunned for a moment. Forgot to mention, my family always adds disinfectant to expired makeup to prevent accidental use. Which foundation and perfume did you just use? Does your face hurt? Ivy's face instantly changed color. She frantically wiped her face to remove the makeup and said angrily, "Why didn't you tell me sooner? Are you trying to hurt me on purpose?" I jumped out of bed and glared at her coldly. "Did you ask me before you took it? Just because I never said anything before doesn't mean I didn't know. Why are you suddenly being so harsh? It's not like it costs much anyway." Ivy shot me a defiant look, put on her mask, and headed out the door. "You're not wearing this dress, right? I'm running late. I'm off to my date." The sundress she was wearing was a designer brand I bought, a summer-style spaghetti strap. Ivy took her coat but deliberately didn't wear it, walking across the December campus with her shoulders bare. Her figure was curvaceous, and with a toss of her long, wavy hair, she had every guy she passed practically drooling. Her intentions couldn't have been more obvious. I just smiled and remotely locked my Porsche. Sure enough, in less than half an hour, Ivy stormed into the dorm room, wrapped in a down jacket and fuming with rage. "My lips are turning blue from the cold. What a cheapskate. He actually wants to take me on the bus, to eat on Huaihai Road by bus. Is he out of his mind?" At the same time, my boyfriend frantically sent me 5 WeChat messages asking, "Why won't the Porsche start?" Before I could even reply, his video call came through. Ivy was startled by the video call alert. She looked at me and was about to speak when I answered the call right in front of her. "Tiana, what's the meaning of this? Why did you lock the Porsche?" 02. Hearing my boyfriend's voice, Ivy quickly averted her gaze, yet there wasn't a trace of guilt or panic to be seen. Great, so the two of them were deliberately cheating on me. "I've been driving this car for so long. How could you? Whose car is that? Man, I'm in a bad mood. Can't I lock it? You're in the dorm working on your assignment. Why do you need the car?" My tone was even sharper than his, and I completely caught him off guard with my question. My boyfriend stammered, I was just asking. No need to get so worked up." I saw Ivy angrily pulling off her skirt on the lower bunk and laughed. "Don't tell me you're using my car to go on a date with someone else, trying to show off. Well, let me tell you something funny. I also heard about someone who goes on dates wearing their friend's clothes, carrying their friend's bag, and even using their friend's triple-ply toilet paper. Am I here to study, or to be a charity case?" Her boyfriend's face flushed crimson, and he abruptly ended the video call. Ivy shot back immediately. "Who are you being so passive-aggressive towards, Tiana? My clothes were in the Wash, so I borrowed yours. Do you have to keep bringing up a few sheets of paper? I don't owe you anything, do I? You're the one who got yourself a deadbeat boyfriend, so don't take it out on your roommate. I didn't do anything to you, did I? Just as Valerie pushed the door open, returning from the library and setting down her full thermos, Ivy sidled up to her with a pout. Valerie, be the judge of this for me, she whined. Tiana's making a fuss over a few sheets of paper, aren't we? Supposed to be good friends, Valerie's expression remained blank as she dropped a cold, blunt remark. That's actually debatable. Valerie was a reincarnator, too. After attending the wedding, she harbored a deep-seated resentment toward Ivy, because among the embarrassing photos made public from the wedding, there was one where she appeared only in her underwear. What's wrong with all of you today? Everyone's acting so strange. Ivy sat down awkwardly on the chair, trying to change the subject. We're usually such good friends, but today you're all acting like you've taken crazy pills. Fine, whatever, I won't make a big deal out of it. Valerie, pour me a cup of hot water. I nearly froze to death today. Valerie didn't even look at her, slamming the thermos shut with a thud. If you want hot water, get it yourself. We're not your maids. Ivy was taken aback for a moment, her eyes instantly welling up with hurt. She retreated to her bed in tears, sobbing, I haven't done anything to any of you, have I? Seriously. Sis, are you ever going to stop with the princess act? You treated us like fools before. Did you really think we'd put up with it again? Valerie glanced at me and asked if I wanted to take a shower, completely ignoring Ivy as if she were air. When we got back from washing up, Ivy was sitting on her bed video chatting with someone, all smiles. Yeah, Sean, I've missed you. Of course I'm in the dorm, only 3 of us are here. One of the girls went home for the weekend. What's so interesting about a girl's dorm? It's just a few beds and desks. I'll take a picture for you. As she spoke, Ivy propped herself up, switched to the rear camera, and brazenly started filming the dorm room. I immediately pulled my clothes tighter around me and warned her, people are changing in here, stop filming. With her headphones on, Ivy acted like she couldn't hear, giggling and chatting away as she described the scene to the guy. Valerie snapped. She stormed over, ended Ivy's video call, grabbed her, and slapped her hard across the face. What? You don't get it. Someone's changing in the dorm, and there's underwear hanging up. Who are you filming for? Ivy shrieked, her hackles raised. Sean is my cousin. What's the big deal if I film for him? As if anyone wants to film you. No one would want to look even if you fat cow, stripped naked. 03. Valerie fell silent all of a sudden. She's from the north. At 170 centimeters and under 65 kilograms, you call that fat? Her eyes, brimming with hatred, were fixed on Ivy. Fury surged through her. You're disgusting. She was strong. She kicked Ivy onto the bed, roughly snatched her phone, and forced her finger onto it to unlock it. What are you doing? Why are you taking my phone? Valerie gave me a look, with a grim expression. I opened Ivy's photo album. I hadn't scrolled far before I found the problematic pictures, photos of my drying underwear, of Monica and Valerie in the middle of changing clothes, and a fully nude photo of Valerie changing. When I got to this photo, I handed my phone to Valerie. Her eyes instantly welled up. This was an accident. I must have taken it by mistake. I don't even know when. Ivy stammered for a moment, then turned her face away, defiantly insisting, what's on my phone is none of your business. Stop snooping through my private stuff. That's illegal, you know. The next second, she let out a blood-curdling shriek as Valerie ripped her clothes in two. Are you insane, you fat cow? You? Valerie gagged her with torn fabric, stripped her naked, and threw her onto the bed. With the door wide open and the lights blazing, Ivy was left pale with terror, huddled on the mattress and whimpering. I'm warning you, I've deleted everything from your phone. Try taking pictures like that again, and I swear I'll strip you naked and dump you in front of the school building. Got it? Ivy was sobbing, tears and snot running down her face as she nodded frantically. Only then did Valerie relent, turning away to fetch a basin and wash the clothes. Ivy lay in bed for a moment to collect herself, then suddenly threw on her new clothes, grabbed her phone, and dashed out the door. Are you going to find the counselor? That could work, but Valerie is stubborn as a mule. I bet she'll push this to the bitter end. What happens if this blows up? Ivy suddenly stopped in the doorway, her fists clenched tight, tears streaming from her bloodshot eyes. With a cold sneer, I walked over, linked arms with her, and pretended to mediate. All right, making a big scene won't do anyone any good. Besides, we're all good sisters in the same dorm, right? Ivy looked at me through her tears, a flash of shrewd calculation in her eyes, and quickly protested with faint hurt. Of course we're good sisters. I just wanted to record all our little moments together, to have something to remember after graduation. How could Valerie treat me like this? What a master of twisting words. The hypocrisy is just too thick. No wonder she Fooled everyone before, she's probably just in a bad mood from being exhausted, working 3 jobs lately, we're all good friends, just let it go. Ivy wiped her tears and took my hand with feigned sincerity. You're right, she said. How can good friends fuss over such trivial things? Valerie is from the countryside and has a bad temper. I'm a well-bred city girl, I should just be more understanding. That evening, Ivy sent several long messages to Monica, the 4th roommate in our dorm. The gist was, I'm being ostracized and bullied in the dorm, and Valerie is harassing me too. If you're willing to back me up, let's go see the counselor together and get the school to discipline Valerie. I won't let her get away with this. Do you really think Tiana is sincere with you? She's so wealthy. What would she possibly see in you? Do you really think Valerie is sincere with you? She's jealous that you're a native Shanghainese and has been bad-mouthing you behind your back. I'm your only true friend left. We should stick together and keep each other warm. Monica forwarded it to me the moment she finished reading, with just 3 words attached. Is she crazy? Monica was also reborn. She was lucky not to have her lingerie photos taken, but at the wedding, Ivy had the nerve to mock her. So what if you have a Shanghai hookup? Your parents are still dead. You're not as happy as I am with my rural household registration. For Monica's parents died in a car accident after she graduated from university. That remark made her so angry that she was the first to throw something at the big screen. That late night, the 3 of us reflected in our WeChat group on why we had been so easily manipulated by Ivy in our past lives. It was our first time living in a dorm, so we always felt we should be more tolerant and accommodating. Living together for 4 years, it was like gaining 3 more family members. This family loved to act like a princess, was always looking to get something for nothing, and spoke her mind without a filter. She had her flaws, and we surely had ours too, so we just let it slide and tolerated each other. After graduation, Ivy cried saying she couldn't find bridesmaids, so we ended up being the suckers who stepped in, and little did we know, at the wedding she went all out trampling on everyone's boundaries, finally showing us her true, trashy character. So if we had to do it all over again, the 3 of us wouldn't let her off the hook. The next day, Monday, in class, Ivy stuck close to Monica the whole time. She sat with her in the back row, sharing a textbook and chatting intimately. Her little scheme couldn't have been more obvious. During class, my boyfriend texted me, asking why he couldn't log into my QQ account. That QQ account is linked to Honor of Kings. I play on the WeChat server, so I don't use the QQ one, but I've unlocked all the skins on it. I've always let my boyfriend have access to that QQ account. After my rebirth, I changed all my passwords. I instinctively glanced back at Ivy. Sure enough, she was holding her phone sideways, waiting on the King of Glory matchmaking screen. I dug out my QQ number, logged into King of Glory with it, and instantly received an invite from Don't Bully Ivy. Ivy typed in the team lobby, just 1 more star to go, hurry up and carry me to King rank. Dude, mooching your skins is the best. She even used matching profile pictures with my account. That's so disgusting. They were practically flaunting it right in front of me before I was reborn, and I didn't even notice. I went in, picked a jungler, stole Ivy's lane farm, took her kills, and left her to die, making her slam her phone down in rage multiple times, but he carried her to victory. Ivy excitedly ran to the bathroom to get on voice chat, saying in a cutesy voice, "Thanks for carrying me to King rank, big bro." Before she could finish, I yanked the stall door open and shoved the end of game screen right in her face. How's it taste, simping for someone else's boyfriend in a bathroom stall? Is that loser even on my level? Can he carry you to King rank with a 12-0 score, or drive you down Huai Road in a Porsche? You like picking through trash so much. How about I move a dumpster to your bed so you can dig through it day and night? You two are even dating on my dime. Am I your sugar daddy now? Should I just fund your wedding and his future bride too? Ivy's face flushed crimson. She stood awkwardly in the cubicle, shifting her weight from foot to foot, and muttered under her breath, "Who are you talking about? I don't get it. We were just playing a game. Are you jealous or something?" Valerie happened to push the door open at that moment. She hurried over with quick steps, her eyes wide as she asked me, "What's going on? I heard she's been sleeping around and home wrecking." The next second, Valerie rolled up her sleeves, ready to throw down. Ivy was so startled she jumped 3 feet in the air, ducked right under Valerie's arm, and took off running. Monica walked by from outside, carrying Ivy's bag, and gave the 2 of us a reassuring look. "What's wrong, Ivy? Why are you running?" Monica chased after her, pretending to be concerned, and the 2 of them walked off into the distance. Trash-talking someone's family is crossing a line. I bet if Ivy keeps throwing herself at Monica, she'll end up in an even worse mess. Just then, my boyfriend's call came through. Seeing me ignore it, Valerie cut straight to the chase. "Want me to tear that Scumbag, a new one for you. Why would I let him off that easy? I need to keep him around so I can make him suffer. As Valerie applied Vaseline to her hands at the sink, she advised me, just don't get fooled again. I remember you two broke up senior year last time, and it's sooner this time. She had taken a part-time job washing dishes in a kitchen, leaving her hands red, chapped, and raw from the cold. Sometimes she could barely hold a pen to write. She came from a county designated as severely impoverished. Given a second chance, she wanted to ride the wave of social media to make money. Back in those years, there were generous creator incentive programs for individual content creators. Platforms like Bilibili or YouTube were just taking off, so Valerie worked 3 jobs frantically, all to save up for a DJI drone to film her videos. I asked if she needed any help, and she confidently said no. She was convinced she could make money if she tried again, and this time, she didn't even want to apply for the financial aid for disadvantaged students, leave it for other students who need it more. To everyone's surprise, on the day the financial aid application notice came out, just as someone mentioned Valerie, Ivy posted 4 or 5 selfies in the WeChat group with the caption, "Wow, look at you, big spender. Is that the latest DJI drone? That's awesome. My roommate just got a new DJI drone." So that's what she's been saving up for all this time. Such an expensive hobby. She's so impressive, sneaking a little touch of Valerie's, my roommate's, DJI drone red heart. Even though she deleted it quickly, quite a few people saw it. She sent a 10-out emoji and said, "All faux innocent, oops, wrong chat." Then they immediately reposted it on their social media feed. I figured Valerie was at work and wasn't checking her phone, otherwise she'd be furious enough to reach through the internet and tear her apart. The next second, a private message from class monitor Monica popped up. "Can you believe Ivy is applying for financial aid? She's already gathering the paperwork, so, what do you say? Should we take care of her?" 05 Ivy is no poor student. She's built this whole Shanghai rich girl persona, always flaunting the latest phone. Her social media is just one big flex. When applying for the grant this time, she hid all her social media profiles well in advance and deliberately ate a cheap vegetarian lunchbox in the cafeteria every day. Who is she trying to fool? Our class monitor, Monica, handled her application materials, which claimed her family was destitute, both parents laid off and paralyzed, drowning in debt and on the verge of suicide. But we attended a wedding in her hometown. Her parents are liquor distributors, the wealthiest family in the whole village. The relatives who came for the wedding festivities filled the entire street. Students who are genuinely struggling can't get this money, yet a fraud like her manages to snatch it away. And Monica and I went to see the homeroom teacher. So, after the class meeting ended that day, the homeroom teacher closed the door, took out a box, and placed it on the lectern. "I'd like everyone to stay for a few more minutes. We're a caring class, so let's help out our classmate in need." Ivy was stunned, having no idea what was about to unfold. I pulled out a 100 yuan bill and dropped it into the box on the lectern. "I'm Ivy's roommate." I was afraid she'd keep her troubles to herself and not say anything, so I'm speaking up for her. It seems like something major has happened in her family recently. She's been scrimping and saving every day, a completely different person from before. The class monitor let out a heavy, pained sigh. "Ivy, please don't let pride get in the way, and don't even think about doing anything foolish. Our whole class will help you get through this tough time together." Ivy shot to her feet, her mouth hanging open uselessly as words failed her. Her furious glare was hot enough to bore 2 holes right through me. Monica gasped, covering her mouth. "Ivy, something that serious happened to your family. No wonder you cleared out all your social media. I heard you're even selling your clothes in bags at a low price. Oh my God, is there anything I can do to help?" "No, it's not that bad. I'm not short on money." Ivy was flustered, sweating profusely, gripping her phone tightly with both hands, unsure how to explain. "If you're not short on money, then why did you apply for the financial aid grant? Don't try to tough it out." I pulled out another 100 yuan bill and dropped it into the box. "Classmates, I think a straightforward donation might hurt Ivy's pride. She might feel we're pitying her, but that's not it at all. We genuinely want to help. This 200 yuan is what I'm paying for Ivy's clothes. Please, everyone, support Ivy's little business. Help her sell her clothes and cosmetics. Let's show some care, okay?" Amidst the murmurs and commotion, many classmates followed suit, tossing money into the box. Ivy was so flustered she was practically hopping on the spot, before finally collapsing into a chair, wiping away tears. The homeroom teacher patted her shoulder to comfort her, but she sobbed out an accusation. "Teacher, please, really, don't do this. It's so humiliating. Why did you have to make my situation public? How am I supposed to face everyone from now on?" Monica took her hands and said with deep concern, "I think the teacher did the right thing. I was worried you might do something Rash, just a week ago, you were wearing Gucci, carrying a Chanel bag, and riding in a Porsche. Your whole outfit was worth over 100,000, but lately, you've been too scared to spend more than 41 on a simple vegetarian meal. Who could handle that kind of sudden change? I had to reach out and pull you back. You're my best friend. Ivy clutched Monica's hand so tightly her nails nearly drew blood, grinding her teeth as she hissed 5 words. I'm so grateful, Monica's. Tears turned to laughter as she shook her head and said, silly, what are best friends for? Back at the dorm, Ivy's background is a girl from a poor rural family resurfaced, with her parents suddenly laid off and paralyzed, and the family drowning in debt. The story of her applying for financial aid was dug up and sensationalized all over again. There were even rumors she had nearly jumped off a building, so, led by the dorm supervisor, a long line of eager students formed outside our room, donating to support Ivy's little venture. High heels, dresses, little purses, makeup, anything she could sell went for rock-bottom prices. Several of her supposed designer items were called out as fakes, forcing her to refund the money. Red-faced, her rich, beautiful girl persona crumbled to dust. In the end, she just sat there in a daze in front of her completely ransacked closet, wiping away tears with no way to voice her misery. Oh, I'm back late. Guess I missed my chance to give you my business. Valerie stood with her hands on her hips, pulled out a $10 bill, and tossed it onto Ivy's desk. I work my fingers to the bone every single day. I gave up that financial aid spot on my own, so it could go to a student who really needs it, not to some con artist. But if someone's that desperate to play the beggar, I suppose I can spare $10. Call it charity. Well, she is a beggar after all. Ivy suddenly snapped her head up and glared at her, her eyes blazing with uncontrollable rage. She actually shrieked and lunged at Valerie, clawing at her. I don't need your snide remarks, you fat cow. I may be poor, but I'm still richer than your whole family. It all happened too fast. Several bloody scratches instantly appeared on Valerie's neck. With one hand, she shoved Ivy away. Ivy lost her balance, her head smacking hard against the railing. She was stunned. That night, Ivy was carried into the school infirmary, crying and demanding an explanation from the administration. The staff had no choice but to contact both sets of parents to resolve the situation. However, Valerie's father is disabled, and her mother needs weekly dialysis. It would take them at least 4 or 5 days to make the trip from the countryside. My own parents are off doing charity work somewhere in Africa, so they can't make it back either. Only Monica's parents are local. After discussing it, we decided to ask Monica's parents for help. I'll pay. She'll call them Mom and Dad. We must get justice for Valerie. 6 parents weren't allowed to drop us off the year we started school, so Ivy never met Monica's parents to make a grand impression. I drove my friend's Maybach Zeppelin. However, it seemed Ivy's parents didn't recognize this luxury car, one of only a handful in all of Shanghai. They took the initiative to arrange a meeting at the school's Western restaurant and even invited everyone from the dormitory. The moment Ivy's mother opened her mouth, her tone was dripping with sarcasm. You two must be from the countryside, right? This meal is on us. Please, order anything you've never had the chance to try. You know, a family's circumstances truly shape a child's upbringing. Our Ivy has been raised by me to be honest, trustworthy, gentle, and sensible. She's simply not like other children. I was so angry I could feel my fists clenching, Valerie said with heavy sarcasm. Sneaking photos of your roommate changing, forging documents to get financial aid, getting into fights in the dorm and hurting other students. She really is one of a kind. Ivy's face instantly changed color. She stood up and snapped, Valerie, don't talk nonsense. I've already explained everything. Why don't you try explaining that to the police and see how far it gets you? Ivy's father scowled, then lowered his voice menacingly. Don't be ungrateful. In Shanghai, I have 1,000 ways to make your daughter's life impossible. If you don't apologize, do you think she'll be able to continue her studies? With that, he suddenly stood up, grabbed a bottle of red wine from the table, and without even looking, hurled it at the Maybach. The sharp, shattering sound terrified everyone. My heart skipped a beat. That was a Maybach I had borrowed. See this wine is so far out of your league, you couldn't even afford a sip. I can smash as many bottles as I want. Just who do you think you are? What gives you the right to bully my daughter, driving that cheap knockoff car and trying to show off? I'll smash it right here, right now. Go on, tell me, how much would you even dare to ask for in repairs? Monica's parents were absolutely stunned. Both being teachers, they had never encountered a parent with such appalling manners. In the end, all they could mutter was, I've never seen such a low life. Valerie stood up with a chuckle. I thought you were laid off and bedridden. Uncle, how did you manage to get up and smash a car? I have to admire your nerve, Uncle. Smashing a multi-million-dollar luxury car just like that, you must be loaded. I was so furious my hair stood on end. Without a second thought, I called the police. Ivy's parents didn't believe it at first, but when the police arrived, they were utterly stunned, their legs turning to jelly. As for Ivy, she had long since turned pale and shrunk into her chair without a word. The first thing she said when the police arrived was, "My dad smashed the car, not me." Valerie secretly retrieved the phone she had hidden in the flower pot to record the incident. Worried their family had a history of making false accusations, Valerie had prepared to film in advance. She quietly blurred the faces and uploaded the video to a shady video sharing app. Within hours, the story blew up. Millions of netizens were online trying to dox the arrogant Shanghai family. 4 or 5 TV station reporters were scrambling to contact Ivy, one of them from the People's Daily, the kind with the official blue checkmark. At the police station, old Manu shamelessly dug in his heels, throwing all dignity to the wind. "How was I supposed to know what kind of car that was? I'm not paying. That girl hurt my daughter first. I was just defending myself." After hearing this, Valerie silently handed her phone to the officer. This was too big. They needed to see the evidence directly. Before the night was even over, Ivy and her family had been completely exposed, with all their secrets laid bare. The school's phone lines were flooded with calls, as concerned netizens reported her for fraudulently obtaining financial aid for impoverished students and demanded a thorough investigation into the incident of her secretly filming her roommate. After being publicly criticized by the People's Daily, Ivy's family became infamous in their own village. Word has it they tried to sneak back to their hometown to lay low, but were reported by relatives and friends before they could even leave. Under immense public pressure, Ivy came forward and admitted to slandering Valerie. Several disciplinary notices were prominently displayed on the school's official website for a full week. After such a huge embarrassment, she was getting cursed at just walking around campus, so she ended up taking leave and hiding out at home. Rumor has it her parents had to sell their old family home to cover the car repair bill. The day after Ivy went home, my boyfriend suddenly sent me 4 or 5 text messages. He asked if my roommate was the one with the Maybach. "Who is it? Are they single? His buddy wants to get to know her." I let out a cold laugh. "I've been so busy dealing with Ivy these past few days that I forgot about this scumbag. How dare he still run his mouth?" I replied to him, "Transfer me 20 grand, and I'll give you the contact info for my Maybach-owning roommate." 7. I met my boyfriend, Jerry, at the freshman orientation party. He was a sophomore, the head of the arts and sports department, and quite popular with the girls. Back then, I was just a kid with a vain streak. Seeing everyone else had a partner, I felt I needed one too, so I reached out to him. My generous spending gave him major bragging rights with his buddies, and his popularity boosted my own social standing with my friends, so we made our relationship official later. During my senior year, I was busy preparing to study abroad. He, however, kept bombarding me with messages about his startup, asking for investment. I got so annoyed that I told him off and cut him loose. It turns out, throughout our 4-year relationship, he and Ivy had been treating me like their personal ATM. "Is 6,000 okay? We're all students. Where would we get that kind of money?" Jerry asked me. I just smiled. The moment he opened his mouth, I knew exactly what he was thinking. "Some friend. If you ask me, he's just trying to cozy up to a sugar mama again," I replied. "You think it's that easy to get a Maybach owner's contact info? If you don't show some sincerity, why would they even look your friend's way?" After sending it, I went back to my dorm, took out a calculator, and meticulously tallied up every penny I'd spent on us over the past half semester. Just as I finished the calculation, his transfer came through. It really did come to 6,000. His family isn't well off either. He just wanted to get to know the girl with the Maybach. I put down my phone and asked Monica, "Do you have the WeChat for that 40-year-old widow wine who lives in your building? Send it to me." That social butterfly, widow Wang from her building, has her social media photoshopped to look like Fan Bingbing. Her Zaya Hongshu and Weibo feeds are full of those autobiographies where she claims to be a 95er who bought a villa in Jing'an district outright before she was even 20. I once embarrassed myself trying to pose as a freshman at University A, and Monica has never let me live it down. I did the math on the money, then forwarded widow Wang's WeChat contact to Jerry with a message. "I'm thinking of breaking up. This is getting pretty stale. Figure out how much you owe me and transfer it via Alipay." Jerry played dead. I saw it coming, so I went through my purchase history, made a list, printed a bunch of flyers on the printer downstairs, and posted them around the boys' dorm the next day. The flyer read, "Boys' dorm freebies, location, East Hall, room 1235, bed number 4, Jerry's bed. Everything on the list below is free, 1 item per person, first come, first served, if there are Any issues, come find me, Tiana, Alienware Laptop Icon La Prairie Caviar Essence in Mask, the blue jar, perfect as a gift for your girlfriend, Breeze Facial Tissues, the thick, for ply ones, CK Underwear, used, dirty, better not take it. I went to class right after posting it. Before class was even over, Jerry started blowing up my WeChat, the screen filled with curses, calling me a stingy, petty cheapskate. I didn't read the rest, I just sent him a payment QR code for $13.14, with the caption, "Want to get back together, show some sincerity, or do you want to keep using my money to hit on my roommate?" Jerry paused for a few seconds, then started frantically sending me voice messages and video calls. Even through the screen, I could picture him absolutely fuming. Before blocking me, he called me nothing but a tacky nouveau riche with a Porsche, told me to get off my high horse, and said I'd regret it. I guess the reason he's so cocky is that he's planning to go chase after some rich lady with a Maybach. Sure enough, not long after, Widow Wang posted an update on Weibo. Among a pile of luxury goods photos, there was a screenshot of Jerry fawning over her in their WeChat chat. The profile picture wasn't blurred out. The caption read, "If you bloom, butterflies will come." Honestly, I'm not as amazing as he says. I'm just a bit more capable than others. 8. The guys from our class also went to the dormitory free-for-all event. When they came back, they teased me, saying my breakup with Jerry had caused quite a stir. That really embarrassed Jerry. Come on, don't be so petty about it. I'm just a girl, and it wouldn't sound good if word got out. After hearing that, I was so mad I just left. I asked him, "How do those free Air Jordans feel? Do you even know who bought them for you?" He left without a word. Ivy vanished for a full month, only to suddenly reappear with just 2 weeks left until the end of the semester. Back in those days, online public opinion wasn't so overwhelming. A month was more than enough for even the hottest story to fade into complete obscurity. She changed her name to Yuanxia, got double eyelid surgery, and aside from her close friends, most people had already forgotten all about her past. She's currently on probation after being expelled, a complete turnaround from her usual flashy attitude. The moment she returned to the dorm, she proactively apologized to everyone, saying the past is behind them and asking them not to hold grudges. "We can still be good sisters from now on." She even brought printed copies of the exam scope for everyone. She got the materials from the teacher in advance and only shared them with us 3 close friends. When it was my turn, she crouched beside me, quietly pulled out her phone, and whispered, "Jerry reached out to me a few more times. I ignored every single message, and now he's blocked me. Falling out with your best friend over a worthless man is just not worth it. Tiana, let's be good again and forget about that loser." In the past, I would have totally believed Yuanxia's apology was sincere. This time, I was more cautious. I said, "That scumbag really isn't worth it. I heard he's been chasing some rich girl on Zaihangsha lately. She's from our school too. Looks like he didn't just dump me, he ditched you as well." Yuanxia was taken aback for a moment. "From our university, what major?" "Well, it's none of my business anyway. I just want to focus on my studies and keep a low profile." I saw right through her little scheme, smiled, and said nothing. Later, the teacher also shared the review materials, digital copies. We thought printing them would be a waste, so we didn't bother. Honestly, reviewing or not made little difference. All 3 of us went on to pursue graduate studies after graduation, and we hadn't forgotten much of the foundational courses from our freshman year. Only Yuanxia was smug about it, convinced that our dorm starting to review a week earlier than everyone else was all thanks to her. During the exam review period, Widow Wang's Weibo updates were quite frequent, often featuring interactions with Jerry. Then one day, she posted a snarky message, "Oh, so your little sister wants to meet me too." The moment you open your mouth, that same old vibe comes through. In the screenshot, Yuanxia said to her, "Which school are you from, sis? I've been wanting to take you out for a meal for ages. Brother Jerry's been hiding a beauty like you, afraid we'd try to steal you away if we saw you." Monica whispered to me, "Yuanxia is nowhere near Widow Wang's league. She's in for a world of hurt." 9. One night, a week before the exams, we heard a man's screams outside the dormitory building. I only found out after waking up the next day that Jerry had arranged to meet Maybach girl the night before, only to get absolutely wrecked by Widow Wang right at the hotel entrance. His shirt got torn clean off, and he had to run back in total disgrace. The whole men's dorm is buzzing with the story of his humiliation. To make it even wilder, Widow Wang claimed to be the scorned original girlfriend. Swindled out of money and affection, she went on the campus confession wall, calling out Yuanxia by name, dragging her for allegedly seducing her boyfriend and being a homewrecker. How could Yuanxia dare to mess up again now? In the dead of night, she hired online trolls to completely whitewash her own image, pinning everything on Jerry. She spun a story about Jerry being her obsessive simp who was 2-timing, telling all the girls out there to Wise up and avoid trash men. Public opinion overwhelmingly condemned Jerry. Widow Wine later stormed into the school, nearly stripping Jerry in the study hall, then sat on the floor wailing and demanding he take responsibility. The whole scene was almost like something out of a Hollywood blockbuster. Eventually, the teachers called the police and had Widow Wine removed. Jerry was utterly humiliated and became infamous across the entire school. I heard his family stepped in and paid her off to settle the matter. After that, everyone completely forgot about Yuanxia's history. All the gossip was about the pretty widow and the young student's affair. Jerry was so terrified he didn't dare leave his dorm. He later transferred majors to the remote West Campus Software Park, and I never saw him again. However, the night before finals, Jerry suddenly added me as a friend and sent a flood of crying emojis. After I got through to him, the first thing he did was send me some study materials for my major. This is some top secret material I went to great lengths to get. It'll come in handy for your exam tomorrow. Go over it again tonight. I glanced at the file size. It was exactly the same as the one the professor sent. He's quite the storyteller. I've really missed you during this time apart. When I love someone, I don't care if they're rich or poor. Can we talk and give it another shot? I let out a cold laugh and sent him 3 payment requests in return, for $520, $1314, and $8888, like. I said, if you want to talk, show me some real sincerity. Jerry hesitated for a moment, accepted the first 2 payments, but held off on the third, his status showing typing. The whole time I deleted it without a second thought and posted on my feed. The sucker ATM works like a charm. After deleting it, I had a sudden impulse to download the electronic review materials the teacher sent, wanting to compare. To my utter shock, what I found inside was staggering. The materials from the teacher were over 20 pages longer than the file Yuanxia had printed. Did Yuanxia do this on purpose? I pulled out the printed materials she made for herself and found they were identical to the digital version, yet, the copies she printed for us were missing pages all over the place. No wonder, in our past life, she always rushed to print the review materials before finals, telling us not to bother with the digital files and that paper copies were more portable. Just how many times did she trick us? 10. This is too hard. I don't want to look at it anymore. I should just go to bed early. Before the lights went out at 11, Yuanxia climbed into bed, giving up on herself. Just after midnight, she quietly grabbed her phone, slipped out of bed, and went to the first-floor study room to memorize her notes. Honestly, if she were just secretly studying behind everyone's back, we wouldn't find it so obnoxious. But she's always pulling these little stunts. In our past life, we never did anything to provoke her while studying. Does she just have an instinct to harm the people around her? There's absolutely no way we can let her get away with this. On the day the exam results came out, as expected, a huge number of people failed calculus. Our class's pass rate was only 40%. Yuanxia deliberately started a group voice call and said in a tearful voice, "What am I going to do? Everyone. This calculus exam was so hard. I only got an 80. I couldn't even get such simple questions right. I'm so stupid. You all must have scored higher than me, right?" I let out a cold laugh and sent a screenshot of my 92. Valerie got a 90 and Monica got a 97. It's a really simple test. Scoring below 90 is definitely a problem. You shouldn't have. We studied together. Monica shot back with a sarcastic remark, leaving Yuanxia unable to voice her grievance, her mouth corners drooping in frustration. In the background, Monica was in the school dormitory. Being a local, she had made a special trip back to the dorm during winter break. The next semester's schedule was out. Since all our textbooks were stored in the dorm, she took all of Yuanxia's books for the upcoming term and processed them. For linear algebra, keep only the odd-numbered pages. For probability theory, keep only the even-numbered pages. For general physics, just throw away everything after Unit 6. In a nutshell, if you want the complete textbook, figure it out yourself. Don't come crying to us if you fall behind. Yuanxia is the type who rarely pays attention in class, copies all her homework, and crams frantically right before exams. After the winter break started, she went for months without realizing her textbooks were missing. It wasn't until just before Qingming Festival, when the teacher outlined the quiz scope, that she suddenly realized her materials were incomplete, and she was missing everything. She asked everyone in the group chat what exactly the quiz would cover. I immediately sent her a 4 megabytes PDF. After the message recall window passed, Monica urgently AD her to say it was a mistake, and then sent the actual 800 kilobytes exam scope, playing off each other. The suspicious Yuanxia was sure to pick the more extensive exam scope. She can kiss sleep goodbye tonight. Better start cramming. Sure enough, on the quiz day, Yuanxia shuffled into the exam hall with dark circles under her eyes and unsteady steps, yet wore a beaming, confident smile. Then she saw the test paper, couldn't answer a single question, and was the first to hand it in tears. Back in the dorm, she didn't dare take it out on me, so she turned on Monica instead. Are you insane? You'd lie about the exam topics too. Is this how you treat your friends? Haven't I been good enough to everyone? What more do you want from me to just leave me alone? Monica slapped her right back without hesitation. You know damn well who tampered with the exam topics first. Last semester's finals. Don't you dare say that wasn't on purpose. You didn't check the digital version yourselves, and that's my fault. Serves you right for missing a few pages. Besides, your grades are fine. What's the big deal about skipping a few pages of review? With all the evil you've done, watch your whole family pay for it. Ever since her rebirth, Monica's greatest fear was her parents' car accident happening again. Those words struck a nerve. In an instant, her eyes burned with hatred, and she lunged at Yuanxia. The next second, her phone rang. Her parents had been in a car accident downtown and needed her to come. 11. Qingming, the accident, rebirth, the barrage of alarming keywords left Monica utterly terrified. She was already sobbing uncontrollably in the taxi on the way there. It wasn't until we arrived at the scene that we discovered her parents had hit someone's pet dog with their car, new drivers, new dog. Both her parents and the pet owner were completely bewildered. Monica's parents had her when they were nearly 40. They are dedicated teachers but rather helpless in practical matters. The insurance company suggested calling someone from the family who could handle the situation, which is why they summoned Monica. After we finish handling things, her parents want to treat all four of us from the dorm to a meal. They specifically asked for Yuanxia by name. Why invite her? Is the Shanghai Mental Health Center on holiday today? Monica rolled her eyes and cursed under her breath. Yuanxia happened to walk over and sit down at the table, completely baffled and not understanding a thing. When Yuanxia looked up and saw her parents, she was completely stunned. Monica explained lazily, forgot to tell you, they're actually my parents. Valerie's parents couldn't make it, so we asked them to play the part. The luxury car isn't ours either. My family is just ordinary. You're not mad, are you? We're best friends. After all, Yuanxia shot to her feet, trembling with rage. What's with the ordinary family act? Who did the money for smashing the car go to? I said with righteous indignation, to my friend. Of course, I borrowed the car from a rich guy. If it's broken, it has to be paid for. You're hilarious. That ordinary family never once bragged about being from Shanghai, but you're always going on about it. What? Does your ID number start with 310? You know what Wumping South Road means. It's calling you crazy. Yuanxia's eyes instantly flushed red with hatred, as if she wished she could tear me apart on the spot. Do you all take me for a fool? Exactly. Who told you to treat everyone like fools in your past life? Monica's mother rushed out to play the peacemaker, saying it was fate that brought us to share a room. It took a lot of coaxing and persuasion before we finally backed down. I looked at Yuanxia with a cheerful smile. Exactly. What's past is past, so why dwell on it? You said it yourself. We're still good sisters from now on, right, Yuanxia? I threw every single one of her disgusting words right back at her. Yuanxia kept her head down, picking at her food with red-rimmed eyes, too upset to argue back. After the meal, Monica mentioned she wanted to go to the nearby Jing'an temple to get a blessing charm. After her rebirth, she became quite superstitious about such things. She felt Yuanxia's curse was terribly inauspicious and insisted on getting a talisman to ward off the bad luck. The rest of us followed suit, making wishes and drawing fortune sticks too. Back in the dorm, Yuanxia immediately tapped the talisman she'd obtained under her pillow, pressing her head down on it firmly. Unfortunately, on the night we returned after the Qingming holiday, a cockroach appeared in our dorm. We screamed and chased it all over the room, turning the place upside down, and in the process, we dug out Yuanxia's talisman. The talisman lay on the ground, brazenly inscribed with the words, "Death to Monica's whole family." Monica froze for several seconds, her mind short-circuiting from sheer rage as she stared blankly at Yuanxia feigned nonchalance as she picked up the talisman, tore it to pieces, and tossed it into the trash. Just scribbled it for fun, a childish joke. You're not taking it seriously, are you? 12. That night, Monica didn't personally confront Yuanxia. Just as things were about to turn physical, the counselor called to say that Yuanxia's mother had a sudden heart attack during an argument and passed away. They asked us to stay with her until her family arrived to take her to the hospital. I remember from my past life that her mother did have a weak heart, a condition that started when she was young. From the strain of trying for a second child to avoid the fines, one moment you're cursing someone's entire family to die, the next, karma comes knocking so swiftly. Yuanxia, listless as wilted chives, climbed into her uncle's car in a daze to return home for the funeral. She only made a brief, fleeting appearance for the final exams before leaving again. By then, we had no intention of holding it against her any longer. If all the wrongs she committed in her past life warranted retribution, then Her mother's death was the heaviest punishment of all. Everyone has their own path to walk from now on. Whatever she does, it's up to her. That summer, one of Valerie's posts blew up on the Pink video platform. Her followers skyrocketed past 400,000, and she gained some popularity among the younger crowd. Then, when the new semester started, we were surprised to find that Yuanxia had gotten some subtle cosmetic work done. Her nose, mouth, and eyes all bore a slight resemblance to Valerie's. Even the beauty mark at the corner of her eye was an exact match. She offered no explanation for this, simply pulling out her phone and saying coolly, "I've started doing social media too." Every subsequent post on her account bore a striking resemblance to Valerie's, blatantly copying her content themes, writing on trending topics, and signing with an agency. Valerie kept a low profile in real life, especially on campus where she preferred not to draw attention to her online persona. Yuanxia, however, was flamboyant at every turn, often being asked for autographs in the cafeteria and basking in the attention. We find her utterly repulsive, but out of consideration for what happened to her mother, we've genuinely decided to let it go. Monica and I started our new energy venture in our sophomore year, and Yuanxia wasted no time in copying us. Back then, roles like campus ambassadors and advisors were all the rage. I heard she became a campus promoter for some white credit service, leveraging the clout of a big tech company to become popular again among her peers. She effortlessly became the revered goddess senior among the freshmen. Every time she came back to the dorm, she'd look down her nose at us and sneer, "What future is there in making those crappy electric bikes? You're all just stubborn and talentless. How could you ever compare to me?" I shot back with a sarcastic, mocking tone, "Yeah, but you don't have a mom." Monica said, "But you don't have a mom." Yuanxia's face instantly turned ashen, her jaw trembling with rage. "Don't you get all high and mighty with me. If you're jealous, just say it. There's no need to hit below the belt. But my status is different from yours now. I'm moving out of the dorm next semester. I bought an apartment downtown. We're done here. No more ties between us." Valerie fiddled with the camera and suddenly said, "Don't be so sure. In court, I'll be the plaintiff suing for plagiarism, and you'll be the defendant." Yuanxia was taken aback for a moment, then shot her an even more defiant glare. "Go ahead and sue then. Try taking down my entire talent agency. Go up against Capital and see if you don't get crushed into dust." With that, she slammed the door and left. That day, I ran into our class monitor. He had once received an A-grade warning, but later his attitude towards me improved. He pulled me aside and asked about the exchange student applications. "How come only Yuanxia from your dorm signed up? All of you have better GPAs than her. Are you really not going to reconsider?" "I think I heard something about that, but the deadline was really late." "Has it already closed?" Classic Yuanxia. What's she up to this time? 13 for Program A. Most majors have joint partnerships with foreign institutions, offering a year abroad in the junior year. The application window was tight, so the teacher notified the class monitor late into the night. Yuanxia proactively asked the class monitor for the paper documents, saying she would go and ask all the female students. She told everyone the deadline was next month, but in reality, it was only 3 days away. In the end, only Yuanxia herself signed up. What a shame. Don't any of you girls want to be exchange students? Yuanxia's application materials will most likely get rejected. Her GPA is just too low. It's not exactly a prestigious school. But I was so fed up with Yuanxia pulling another stunt that I decided to set her up during the class meeting. During the class meeting, the teacher invited Yuanxia to share her experience as a campus ambassador, praising her outstanding performance over the past year. After she finished her gloating presentation, I stepped up to the podium with a smile and announced some good news. The deadline for the exchange student applications got moved up. The class monitor, worried we'd miss it, submitted all the girls' profiles for pre-screening, and over half of them have already been approved. The classroom fell silent for a second, then erupted into chaos. Some were delighted, others frowned, and everyone started talking at once. "You heard right. He acted first and asked for permission later, but it's fine. You can withdraw your application if you don't want to go." Yuanxia's expression changed. Seizing the opportunity amidst the commotion, Monica quietly switched Yuanxia's projection back to the main screen. The main screen was displaying the WeChat interface. Yuanxia, frantic on stage, sent a WeChat message directly to the class monitor. "What's going on? I only put one name on the sign-up sheet I gave you. How did everyone end up signing up?" The message was broadcast live on the big screen. Gradually, everyone fell silent, their eyes fixed on the display. Yuanxia followed up. "Did you submit the wrong one? None of them were signing up, only I was." A girl from the dorm next door stood up. "Yuanxia, what are you trying to pull?" Yuanxia was confused at first, but when she saw the screen Behind her, it was like a bolt from the blue. She froze on the spot, completely petrified. A cold sweat broke out instantly. I said coldly from the side, "What you're all seeing is the truth." Yuanxia took the paper forms herself, then told everyone the deadline was a month away. In reality, sign-ups closed in 3 days. She only signed herself up. Well, it's not technically illegal. She's under no obligation to tell everyone. But seriously, how gross is that? Yuanxia slammed her laptop shut and said defiantly, "If you want to be an exchange student, figure it out yourself. There's only one spot. We're all competing. Why should I play mommy for you guys?" Immediately, a girl from the dorm packed up her bag and left, hurling a final insult at her. What a lowlife. Gradually, all the girls in the class left, each one giving Yuanxia a dirty look. The class monitor felt embarrassed and left with a group of his buddies. In the end, the classroom was empty, leaving only a few of us there to watch the drama unfold. Not long after, a poll appeared in the class group chat, initiated by the monitor. Yuanxia is on probation, her student status has been revoked, and she has integrity issues. Should we keep her in the class group? In less than half an hour, everyone voted no in the poll. Just as Yuanxia was arrogantly making threats, she was kicked out of the group the next second. After she moved out of the dorm to focus on building her career, we rarely saw her around campus. Then one day, someone spotted Yuanxia in a shared apartment off campus. She had been bragging about moving to a downtown apartment, but in reality, she and her boyfriend had just rented a room in a shared house near the university. Upon taking a closer look at the photo, I realized her live-in boyfriend was Jerry. Interesting. 14. Valerie spent her entire sophomore year fighting plagiarism cases. In the early days of the influencer boom, before capital had deeply entrenched itself, she was convinced she could reclaim justice. By her junior year, JD Baitiao, a credit service, had entered the campus, sparking a trend of young people dabbling in finance. However, the buzz around JD Baitiao was soon eclipsed by advertisements for another financial product. I took a closer look at the flyer. It was for a P2P platform. Among the investors was Jerry. It wasn't long before the spokesperson was revealed, Yuanxia. Someone saw Yuanxia showing off her brand new BMW at the school gate, looking absolutely full of herself. I reassured them not to be envious, saying her little act wouldn't last long. With some people, if you just leave them alone, they'll dig their own grave. As graduation approached, Valerie's plagiarism case gained traction. Yuanxia's management company collapsed, leaving her without her backer, and she officially became the defendant. Don't forget, she's still on academic probation. If she messes up again before graduation and can't get her diploma, the last 4 years will have been a total waste. So, Yuanxia rushed back to the dorm late at night, tearfully begged Valerie to drop the lawsuit, and immediately deleted her social media accounts and disbanded her fan groups. Valerie refused to forgive her. After the court ruled against Yuanxia, the school, fearing public backlash, expelled her. Her diploma was gone for good. Valerie didn't want compensation. Her only demand was for Yuanxia to donate every penny she'd earned from her social media ventures over the past 2 years and issue a public apology across all platforms. Yuanxia had no choice but to comply. After posting the apology, she vanished without a trace, leaving us with just one final WeChat message: "Don't get cocky. The pittance I made from social media isn't even enough to buy a car. Did you really think I cared? What's so great about a degree from university, eh? I can buy a master's or a PhD just as easily, with money. Is there anything you can't do? Goodbye, you bunch of country bumpkins. Don't ever contact me again." The wealthy guy whose Maybach she scratched years ago knew Yuanxia. While shopping in Hong Kong, he sent me a photo, saying he'd run into her attending a preparatory course. He reckoned she'd be starting a postgraduate program there the following year. The year was 2018, the following year was 2019. I was studying in Hong Kong. The money Yuanxia spent wasn't clean either. With the collapse of P2P lending platforms and the arrests of several financial company chairmen, I heard Jerry got taken in as well. It just dawned on me, that startup he was relentlessly pushing me to invest in during my senior year of my past life, it was a P2P lending platform. Thank goodness I was completely focused on my studies back then and ended up cutting him off. His venture never took off anyway. In that past life, since Yuanxia didn't plagiarize Valerie and go the influencer route, she held no value for Jerry and thus avoided that whole mess. This time, those two foolish and malicious individuals teamed up and finally reaped what they sowed. I heard Yuanxia never did end up going to grad school. There's been no word from her since 2019. In our 4th year after graduation, I caught up with Monica and Valerie. Everyone's doing pretty well for themselves. Valerie is about to become a content creator with 1 million followers. She's not a top-tier influencer, but her career is finally on track. Monica's parents are both alive and in great health. They're already making plans for their retirement. Just then, A notification popped up on the phone. Yuanxia, formerly known as Ivy, a fugitive suspect in a financial product case, has been apprehended in Shenzhen. Story 2. I'm the only one in our family who inherited the ability to be reborn. When I was still babbling as a toddler, my mother would cover the walls with lottery numbers written in charcoal and make me memorize them if I misread or forgot a number. She'd embroider it onto my arm with an embroidery needle to make sure I remembered. By the time I turned 6, I had memorized every lottery draw for my entire childhood. For the first time ever, Dad took me to the county town and fulfilled my wish to have ice cream, and that very day, Dad excitedly led me to a desolate cliff edge. Luna, you've had it good for so long. It's time you paid the family back. The next second, Dad pushed me off the steep cliff. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn as a 3-year-old. My parents were looking at me with beaming faces. Luna, what are the winning lottery numbers for today's draw? In our family line, a reincarnated individual emerges every 10 generations. I happen to be the 10th generation in my family line, so my parents stopped farming and working altogether, focusing entirely on having children. They had 7 children in total, and it wasn't until I was born that our family's century-old genealogy book finally changed color. That's why, when I was still babbling as a toddler, my mother would cover the earthen walls with lottery numbers written in charred black charcoal, teaching me to read and memorize them. But as a young child, I could never get it right. I'd either mix up the numbers or confuse the dates. At first, Mother never laid a hand on me, but after I turned 2, my mother, who was desperately hoping for better days, finally reached her breaking point and decided to punish me. In the beginning, she'd only whip the backs of my calves with willow branches, though the switches were slender and supple. They stung terribly against my skin. As the stack of lottery tickets I had to memorize grew, so did the frequency of my mistakes. Convinced I wasn't taking it seriously, Mom started beating me with a thumb-thick stick and burning me with red-hot iron tongs. Back then I didn't understand, only knowing how to beg for mercy in a tearful, childish voice. Mom, I'm sorry, please don't hit me anymore. And that would only make my mother angrier. She glared at me with a furious, menacing expression. I told you to memorize the lottery numbers, not to spout nonsense. Don't you know talking ruins your concentration? With you being this stupid, when will I ever have a decent life? Then my mother would take out an embroidery needle and, as if mending clothes, stitch the numbers I'd misread onto my arm. The pain was unbearable, but I didn't dare cry or make a fuss. It wasn't until my father came home in the evening that I finally burst into loud sobs. Then he would lift me up and sit me on his lap. Luna, don't blame your mother, you were just too disobedient. If you had listened to her and memorized the lottery numbers like you were told, she wouldn't have had to stitch them into your arm with her embroidery needle. She only did it for your own good, to help you remember. As you can see, our family is dirt poor. The sooner you memorize those lottery numbers, the sooner we can turn our lives around. I could feel my father's heart pounding with anticipation. As a child, I couldn't understand how memorizing lottery tickets would magically solve all our family's problems. Aside from hitting me and forcing me to memorize lottery numbers, my mother actually treated me quite well. Since my parents didn't farm the land, our family survived on potatoes year-round, yet I was the only one in our household who got to eat an egg every day. My mother insisted that proper nutrition would sharpen my memory and help me memorize lottery numbers faster. Beyond that, even my 3 older brothers had chores. I was the only one exempt from all work. Even though Mom would hit me sometimes, I still believed she was the most wonderful mother in the world. Then one day, my grandmother came to visit. After Grandma left, Mom pulled Dad into the bedroom. She said Grandma told her I needed a brain replacement, that it was the only way I could become smart. My arm was still throbbing and itching from the numbers Mom had just tattooed on it. I didn't quite catch how exactly this brain replacement process works, but this was something I was willing to do. I felt so guilty for not being able to memorize the lottery numbers and give Mom and Dad a better life. That evening, Dad said he was taking me somewhere special, and I eagerly followed along. I was so keen to keep him happy that I even started excitedly reciting lottery numbers on the way, but I never expected he'd lead me to a graveyard. Before I could process what was happening, he brought me right up to a coffin. A grubby old man stood by the coffin. My father pulled 500 yuan from his trouser pocket and handed it over. That brain-swapping method you mentioned really works. The old man chuckled, swaying his head. Of course, the fellow in this coffin was the top scorer in the national college entrance exams back in his day. If his family weren't all living in the county town, who'd dare dig up a grave in the dead of night? All right, have your daughter lie down in there. Just 3 days with this top-scoring student, and I guarantee she'll come back with a sharp mind. I Was young at the time, but I still understood what the old man meant. I turned to run, but my dad grabbed me firmly by the back of my neck. "Luna, what are you running from?" I stared at my beloved father with creeping horror. After freezing for 2 seconds, I began thrashing violently, for I had clearly seen the features of the person lying in the coffin. It was less a human form and more a collection of stinking human bones. But father paid no heed to my tearful pleas. He grabbed me and violently threw me into the coffin. I screamed and cried, trying to climb out. With a sharp shove to my head, father slammed my body back into the coffin. Then, with chilling indifference, the coffin lid sealed away the last sliver of moonlight from the horizon. I spent 3 days inside that coffin. During those 3 days, I breathed in the stench of decay, cycling between fits of weeping and raging too. But after each outburst, a bitter ache would always swell in my chest. I've come to realize that my parents don't seem to love me as much as I thought. This reminded me of the rumors circulating in our village. People in the village say our family has 7 children, but I only have 3 older brothers. I've never laid eyes on my 3 older sisters. Villagers whispered that father had turned my sisters into flowerpot maidens and sold them off. I could never grasp what these flowerpot maidens were supposed to be. How could human beings possibly transform into flowers? But I knew this couldn't be anything good. To my horror, I realized that if I hadn't inherited the family's rebirth ability, I might have been turned into one of those flower girls and sold off by father, though I had no idea what this rebirth ability actually was. But thankfully, father finally let me out. The moment I saw the moonlight again, my whole body trembled. The old man fixed me with a lecherous stare. "Luna, will you be able to remember the numbers properly from now on?" I looked at the old man's terrifying, grotesque smile and nodded hurriedly. I can." The old man walked over to my father, looking satisfied. "This girl's fate is too formidable. We may need to perform another ritual. Take her home for now and observe. If it doesn't work, come see me again." My body jolted with another violent shudder. I stared in horror at the human bones lying in the coffin. I swore to myself I would never come back to this place again. I came down with a high fever as soon as I got home. In my feverish slumber, I had many dreams. I dreamed of my 3 sisters whom I had never met. They smiled and invited me to join them to play. After a moment's hesitation, I declined. Even though mom and dad were harsh with me, I still didn't want to leave them. I lay at home for 3 days. When I opened my eyes again, mom was lying beside me looking utterly exhausted. Seeing I was awake, she reached out and touched my forehead. The warmth from their palms seeped through my skin, spreading through my entire being. Back then I thought, my mother must still love me. She only hit me because she wanted a better life so badly. My father returned to his old self, buying me chocolates that only city kids could afford. Though I never liked them, they were too bitter, yet I still threw myself into my father's arms, beaming with joy. It was from that moment I resolved to memorize lottery numbers thoroughly. I never wanted to see my parents transform into those strange versions of themselves again, and I certainly had no intention of being sent back to that old man for his rituals. Strangely enough, ever since I committed myself to memorizing those lottery numbers, my mind seems to have improved. I used to struggle to memorize even 1 set of lottery numbers a day, but now I can memorize 3 sets daily. Whenever I exceed my tasks, my father gently pats my head and praises me for doing a great job. My mother hasn't hit me since then, and items like fire tongs and embroidery needles have all been put away. I was so blissfully happy back then. Time flew by, and as I gradually grew up, I committed all the lottery numbers from before I turned 6 firmly to memory. At the day before my 6th birthday, Dad gently ruffled my hair. "Luna, tomorrow's your birthday. What would you like for your present?" My eyes lit up as I looked at him. "Ice cream, Dad. I want ice cream." Dad gave a warm, gentle smile and nodded. "All right." Early the next morning, Dad took me to town. There was not only an amusement park but also all kinds of snack shops. This brand new world filled me with wonder. Dad also took me to a breakfast spot and ordered me sweet soy milk and delicious meat buns. I ate until my mouth was glistening with oil. After we finished breakfast, Dad was just about to take me away. A man walked into the small diner. He wore a brown jacket and had a stern face, made even more menacing by the long, jagged scar that twisted across his cheek. I was so frightened that I immediately ducked behind my father. Once we were outside the diner, I asked my father nervously, "Dad, that man who just came in is really scary." Dad said impatiently, "He's a murderer. If you keep making a fuss, I'll have him kill you, chop you into mince, and make dumplings out of you." I trembled violently with fear and didn't dare say another word, but in a child's world, even the most terrifying emotions can completely vanish when faced with delicious food. I was no exception. The moment Dad pressed the cheapest ice cream from the shop into my hand, all thoughts of the Murderer vanished from my mind. I never imagined that the ice cream I'd been fantasizing about could be this delicious. Little did I know, the ice cream in my hand would be the last taste I'd ever experience in my life. Once we finished our ice cream, Dad was getting ready to take me home, but then I spotted the murderer I'd encountered that morning. He was sitting by the entrance next to the ice cream shop, feeding his stray cat with steamed buns and a faint smile on his lips. Watching the smile playing on the man's lips, I furrowed my brow in confusion. 3. Didn't Dad say that man was a murderer? Then why did he look so gentle while feeding the cat? My own father would never hesitate to kick a stray cat if he saw one on the street. Before I could figure it out, Dad's impatient voice called from nearby, "Luna, what are you standing there for? Get over here now." I was so frightened that my body jolted violently, and I quickly hurried after my father. On the way home, I kept wanting to ask about that murderer, but my father completely ignored me, just hurrying along the path until my father led me to the edge of a steep cliff. My body instinctively grabbed the hem of my father's clothes as I stared down the seemingly endless cliff. "Dad, why have we stopped?" My father crouched down in front of me. "Luna, have I been good to you?" I didn't know why Dad would ask that, but I still nodded solemnly. "Dad treats me very well." A broad smile spread across Dad's lips. "Then would Luna like to repay Dad?" "Yes, Dad." The moment I spoke, I felt a sudden weightlessness as my body was lifted into the air. My father had scooped me up, but before I could even let out a scream, my father threw me off the cliff. As I fell, tears streamed uncontrollably down my face. I never imagined my own father would try to kill me. Then my back slammed hard against the rocks. A choked sob escaped my lips. The searing pain shooting through my body made me clutch desperately at the roadside weeds. I had no idea where I found such strength, but I knew one thing for certain: I didn't want to die. I want to live. I need to ask my father, why would he do this to me? Until I was about to climb back to the cliff's edge, my father, who had already left, suddenly reappeared. He grinned with a particularly vicious and cruel expression. "You little brat, you're tougher than I thought." Before I could react, my father delivered a powerful kick to my head. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a room that felt both foreign and familiar. The roof beam was broken in half, just like in my previous life, but the room was now filled with electrical appliances, even a television. For a few seconds, I was completely disoriented. My parents, now looking years younger, finally cried out in excitement, "Luna, you're the reincarnated Luna, aren't you?" I stared at the face before me, both familiar and foreign. All the emotions I'd been holding back finally erupted at that moment. I want to confront my father. "Why did you treat me so cruelly in my past life?" I need to ask my mother, for did she know all along that my father would throw me off the cliff? But my crying was cut short almost as soon as it began, because my new father was staring at me with wild excitement. "She must be the reincarnated Luna. The original Luna was an idiot who couldn't even cry properly." My new mother chimed in eagerly. "I think so too. Wait here while I check the ancient book our ancestors left behind." The new mother came running back moments later. "There's writing now. The ancient text has revealed something. It says lottery tickets." The new father leaped up in astonishment. "So in my past life, I had Luna memorize lottery numbers." Of course, if it were me, I'd definitely have Luna memorize lottery numbers too. Watching the two chatting excitedly, my heart ached with a sharp, piercing pain, like a blizzard of snowflakes swirling densely in winter. The two deep in conversation reminded me exactly of that day in my past life when my parents were discussing taking me to the graveyard. Perhaps my expression was too sorrowful, for my new mother noticed something was off about me. She slapped my new father, then leaned down to wipe the tear stains from my cheeks. "Luna, don't overthink it. Mom and Dad are just overjoyed." My new father snapped out of his daze. Yes, Luna, Dad just never expected the ancestors' words to be true." Through the mist, I carefully sculpted the expressions on their faces, but I couldn't tell if it was just my imagination. Their smiles seemed forced, yet I still shook my head timidly. Perhaps my timid compliance made my new parents let their guard down. My new father looked at me with excitement. "Luna, hurry up and give us the lottery numbers now. The drawing is today, and I can make it to the county before dark to watch the results. If I win, I'll bring back some delicious chocolate for you." Hearing my new father's words, my heart sank again. This father who was trying to coax me seemed just like the one from my past life. In the end, I gave the lottery numbers to my new father and mother. That very day, they took my brothers to the county town. Meanwhile, I was left tied to the bed at home with a rough rope around my neck. During their absence, I had a lot of time to think. I thought to myself, if my new parents would just love me, I'd be more than willing to be their daughter, because I didn't want to become a child without parents. But I never expected that when they returned the next day, my new mother would storm through the door cursing and immediately try to hit me. She was holding a willow switch. Luna, did you lie to us? Yesterday's winning numbers were completely wrong. I watched as this mother figure gradually merged with the one from my past life. The moment I opened my mouth, I burst into tears. Mom, I don't know. I really don't know. My new mother paid no attention to my crying. She raised a willow switch and started whipping my body relentlessly. I struggled to break free, but a thick rope was tied around my neck. No matter how I struggled, the new mother's stick always found its mark on my body with unerring accuracy. I don't know how long the commotion lasted, but the new father, who had been silently smoking outside, finally reached his breaking point and strode over. He snatched the stick right out of the new mother's hand. All right, that's enough. What if you end up killing her? Hearing my new dad's voice, all the emotions I'd been holding back suddenly found an anchor. I threw myself into my new dad's arms and burst into loud sobs. My new dad patted my back. There, Luna, don't cry. Don't be upset with your mom. She's just really worried. As you can see, we're barely scraping by. If we don't hit the lottery soon, we won't even be able to put food on the table. Nestled in my new father's embrace, I listened to the steady thrum of his heartbeat before finally murmuring timidly, Dad, I honestly don't know what went wrong. This is exactly how you taught me to recite it. My new parents exchanged a knowing glance. Luna, would you tell Daddy how I used to make you memorize lottery numbers? I agreed to my new father's request that very night. I told my new father everything about my past life. I even mentioned how many bowls of rice I ate every single day. It wasn't until the moon rose above the treetops that my new father, seeing he couldn't get anything out of me, finally let me go to sleep. But the moment they stepped out of my room, my tightly shut eyes flew open again. I started crying. Soft, muffled sobs escaped me. 5, but I didn't cry for long. Next door, my new mother's angry voice erupted. Do you think that brat Luna could be lying? My new father replied in a dry, raspy voice. Unlikely. She died at 6 in her past life. A child that young can't possibly fabricate lies. New mother retorted. Then why is the lottery number wrong? Could the past life and this one be different? New dad, it's not impossible. Tomorrow morning, we'll make something delicious to sweet talk Luna into writing down all the lottery numbers for us. That worthless girl doesn't deserve good food. Once she's finished writing the lottery numbers tomorrow, you go sell Luna off. We only kept her around all these years because she's simple-minded. She's been nothing but a freeloader. If you ask me, that family heirloom of yours might be fake. Regardless, we should use Luna to get some money first. I listened to the hushed conversation from next door. Tears welled up even more intensely in my eyes. So it turns out that both my parents in this life and my parents in my past life have always disliked me. After crying all night, I woke up the next morning with my eyes swollen like 2 big light bulbs. My new mother looked at me with deep concern. What happened? Your eyes are so terribly swollen. I looked at her worried expression and remained silent for a long moment before murmuring timidly, I'm fine. Seeing this, my new father quickly stepped forward and pulled me into his arms. Luna must have just been reborn and isn't used to things yet. Go quickly and get a boiled egg for her to soothe her eyes. Hearing my new father's gentle voice, my heart ached with sorrow again. My father is so kind right now, yet why is he just as terrible as the father from my past life? One wanted to kill me, the other wanted to sell me. After finishing the fermented rice egg dish my new mother made, I applied a compress to my eyes. My new father looked at me tentatively. Luna, would you be willing to help me write down those lottery numbers you memorized in your past life? I stared at my new father in silence for a long time before finally nodding with trembling uncertainty. Okay, my hands were too small to hold a pen properly, so I'd call out the lottery numbers for Dad to write down. Even so, it took me 3 whole days to memorize them until every lottery number was firmly committed to paper. My new father gently ruffled my hair. Luna, as a reward, how about Dad takes you to town tomorrow? In the end, I couldn't hold back my tears. Dad, why don't you like me? If I've done something wrong, please tell me. I'll change. I don't want to be a child without a mom and dad. My new dad's face instantly changed dramatically, and he rushed over in a panic to pick me up. Nonsense. If I didn't love you, why would I take you to the county town? Your own brothers have never even been there. I rested my head on my father's shoulder. Tears fell from my eyes like a steady curtain of rain in the And I never said what I was thinking. My brothers may not need to go to the county town, but you'd never dream of selling them off either. Just like in my previous life, my new father took me to the county town. I looked at the familiar streets, the familiar playground, but the sense of novelty and excitement I'd felt before was gone. All I knew was that one more step would send me tumbling into a bottomless abyss once again. I gripped my new father's hand tightly and pointed to the ice cream shop. where my previous father used to buy me treats. Dad, I'd like an ice cream, we can skip the amusement park. Just like in my past life, my new father showed impatience but still humored me by buying a cheap ice cream. I deftly tore open the wrapper, yet somehow the sweet flavor I remembered from my previous life was missing. What I've tasted in this life is bitterness, a bitterness more profound than the darkest chocolate. Dad first took me to a lottery shop and bought a ticket, then he led me into a narrow alley. The new father approached a tightly shut gate. Before long, a menacing, foul-smelling homeless man opened the door. I was so frightened that I hid behind my father, and it was precisely that action. I saw the scene inside the room behind the homeless man. On the dilapidated floor sat over 20 flower pots, but instead of flowers, they held human beings. A dozen more boys and girls with leg disabilities were crawling on the ground. Each of them held a bowl in their hands. Some were kowtowing, others weeping. This suddenly reminded me of those disabled children I encountered on the pedestrian overpass. A chill ran down my spine instantly. So, is this the flowerpot girl the villagers have been talking about? By then, the new father and the vagrant were already deep in conversation. This time it's my own daughter. You've got to give me 500 more, no matter what. My girl is sharp as a tack. She'll definitely help you rake in a good amount of money. The homeless man looked at me as if I were a piece of merchandise. Fine, but you better step up the supply lately. Got a big order from out of province. New dad gave a nod. Deal. With that, new dad shoved me toward the homeless man. My heart instantly tightened, forcing down the trembling in my chest. I smiled and said, Dad, do you want me to play at this uncle's house? But right now, I want you to take me to the lottery store. I just remembered. I finally figured out why the lottery ticket was wrong. I think I mixed up the dates. As soon as I finished speaking, my new dad's face instantly changed. He glanced at the homeless man and, in a panic, handed back the 500 yuan he was holding. Bro, I'll bring her to you in a couple of days. I've got something urgent to deal with right now. With that, my new dad picked me up and hurriedly rushed us away from the place. My body grew increasingly rigid in my new father's arms. If he hadn't sold me, my new father could have lived a comfortable life. My new father carried me to the lottery shop, where he spent 100 yuan on fresh tickets. As I looked at my new father, wave after wave of pain washed through my chest. Once we stepped out of the lottery shop, my new dad had slipped back into his kind father persona. Luna, did you mix up the dates for those lottery numbers you wrote down for me? I bowed my head in thought for a moment, pointing at a small diner nearby. I said with a playful smile, I'm not telling you yet, Dad. I'm going for some soy milk from that place first. My new father's face clearly showed impatience, but he held back his anger and patted my head. All right. When we got to the small restaurant, I ordered the same dishes as in my previous life, yet as I drank the sweet soy milk, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. My new father didn't notice I was crying, too upset to do anything but chain smoke. I wiped the tears from my face with the palm of my hand, clutching my stomach. I looked at him with faint discomfort. Daddy, my tummy hurts. May I go to the bathroom? My new father shot me an impatient glance. Well, don't just stand there, go. I shot my father a bitter glance, pushed back my chair, and headed in the direction of the restroom. But when it came time to turn, I didn't go to the restroom. Instead, I dashed into the kitchen. I slipped out through the diner's back door. I just kept running and running. I ran straight to the place where I'd encountered the murderer in my previous life, and knocked on the door. The moment the door swung open, my whole body trembled. I'll give you 5 million to kill my father for me. I first saw 5 million written on the lottery shop wall. I don't know exactly how much 5 million is, but it must be a fortune. Otherwise, why would my father from my past life have heartlessly killed me? The man who opened the door crossed his arms and chuckled at me. Where did this kid come from? With nerves of steel, asking to hire a hitman right off the bat. My eyes widened in terror. The man before me resembled the one from my past life, yet felt distinctly different. He still wore the same brown leather jacket, but the gruesome scar was gone from his face. His demeanor had shifted too. Gone was the severity, replaced by a certain gentleness. I suddenly felt torn. Could it be that the man in this lifetime hasn't become a murderer yet? I slumped like a deflated balloon, burying my head in my hands. Ever since I came back from being reborn, I've been thinking and thinking about it. What if my parents try to kill me again? I've exhausted every option, and this murderer is my last resort. But now, I suddenly burst into tears, overwhelmed with self-pity. Am I really destined to be sold by my own father, turned into a flowerpot girl begging on the streets? But I want to go to school, just like my big brother does. Seeing me cry, the man grew flustered. He hurriedly crouched down. Hey now, kid. What's with the waterworks all of a sudden? I was just about to say, excuse me, the angry shouts of my new Father echoed from nearby. A shiver ran through my body in fright. I ducked under the man's arm and dashed into the house. Shut the door. Quick, I cried in panic. My dad's coming. The man looked at me calmly. Running away from home isn't a good idea, kid. I was so frantic that my sobs grew even louder. I choked up between sobs. But if I don't run away, my dad will sell me off to be a flowerpot girl. For some inexplicable reason, the man's face turned ashen when he heard my words. 6. He violently slammed the door shut. After locking it, he started walking toward me. Not only did he approach me, but several other men also stepped forward from behind him. That's when I realized there were several other men in the room besides the murderer. Kid, hurry up and tell us about the flowerpot girl. I stared at them in terror. I never imagined that right after escaping my new father's prison, I'd fallen straight into another den of bloodshed. I burst into tears, hysterical. The men immediately started scrambling around in a fluster. The slightly chubby man pulled out a chocolate bar. Don't cry, sweetie. Here's some chocolate for you. I squinted and took a quick glance. Who wants chocolate anyway? My tongue's going numb from the bitterness. I took a deep breath and kept crying. A tall man made funny faces to cheer me up, but his expression only reminded me of my father from a past life, who grimaced as he threw me off a cliff. Terrified, I cried even harder. The murderer who had just opened the door for me said in a booming voice, "Keep crying, and your dad will hear you." My sobs caught in my throat instantly. I pursed my lips, not daring to make another sound. The group of grown men let out a collective sigh of relief. The tall man stood up and patted the murderer on the shoulder. "Ash, I had no idea you were so skilled at dealing with criminals. You seem pretty experienced with kids too." The murderer brushed his hand away in disgust and crouched down in front of me. "Hey kid, we're police officers. If you tell us about the flowerpot girl, we can make sure your dad doesn't sell you." I stared at him with a hint of fear, remaining silent for several seconds before stiffening my neck and saying, You have, what proof do you have that you're a police officer? And, the villagers say, even the police can't handle the flowerpot girl case." The murderer let out a cold sneer. "That's not necessarily true. I came here specifically to arrest that whole group of people." As he spoke, the man pulled out a police badge. "See, this is my police identification." My eyes were locked on the man in military uniform pictured in the blue notebook. "Can you really stop them from selling me?" The man gave a solemn nod. Seeing his expression, a wave of relief washed over me, but before I could even feel happy, a sudden tightness gripped my chest. This was immediately followed by a wave of dizziness. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in an exquisitely decorated room. Sitting by my bedside was a beautiful woman with short hair, wearing a white blouse. When she saw I was awake, she smiled and stroked my forehead. "You're awake, sweetheart." I stared at her for several seconds. "Miss, are you a police officer too?" The woman nodded with a warm smile. "That's right, I'm Serena, so remember, you can tell me anything, okay?" I carefully studied the expression on the woman's face. I stared for the longest time, but couldn't make anything out. In my past life, when Dad lied to me, his expression would turn stiff. When Mom deceived me, only half a smile would curl at the corner of her lips, but the smile on this woman's face was truly lovely. After wrestling with it for quite a while, I finally decided to trust her. "I can give you 5 million, no, 6 million, or even 7 million. Will you take me away from here?" My sister smiled and ruffled my hair. "Not so fast. If you want me to take you away, you'll have to tell me the story of the flowerpot girl first." I tilted my head in confusion. "Do you mean I have to tell you about both lifetimes?" The woman was taken aback for a moment, but she quickly composed herself and smiled at me. "You're right." After a long silence, I ended up telling her everything about my past life and this one. For some reason, my sister cried the whole time I was speaking, and by the time I finished, her eyes were swollen like light bulbs. "It's no big deal." My heart ached as I looked at her. "Do we have any boiled eggs here? If you warm your eyes with a boiled egg, the swelling will go down." When my mom used to hit me, I'd cry until my eyelids were all red and puffy, but then I'd use a warm boiled egg from breakfast to soothe them, and the pain would fade after a while. But for some reason, that only made her cry even harder. I could only look at her with a sigh of helplessness. This big sister is such a crybaby. After a long silence, I reached out and hugged her, mimicking how my father used to hold me. There, sis, let me give you a hug. A good hug will make the tears go away." Her crying caught Ash's attention, and he came into the room. He furrowed his brow slightly. "7. Why are you crying now?" I looked at him with mild disdain. "When a girl cries, she needs to be comforted." I picked up that line from the TV playing in the small restaurant earlier. Ash grinned widely. "Oh, you're young but quite the grown-up, aren't you? You actually know about this." Ash walked over and wrapped his arms around both me and my sister, pulling us close. "All right now, eh? Hug from your hubby, a little cuddle and the tears will stop. I was just about to compliment Ash with a single shove. The sister sent Ash sprawling flat on his back. Get lost. Since when are you my husband? The sister ran out of the room in tears. Ash curled his lip and picked himself up off the floor. See what you've done, you little troublemaker. Your sister just hit me. All right, stay here for now. I'll get that tall guy to come keep you company while I go calm your sister down. I watched Ash walk away. A faint smile touched my lips. I don't know why, a sweet, indescribable warmth bloomed in my chest. After that, I stayed in this house, and every day different uncles would come to play with me, but the one who spent the most time with me was that tall older brother. This period was the absolute happiest time of both my lifetimes. The only thing that upset me was that I told every brother the lottery numbers, and not a single one of them actually went to buy a ticket. Every time, I'd be trembling with rage, yet they'd just laugh and tease me. I couldn't understand why the wealth my father had craved for 2 lifetimes meant so little to them, until one day, Uncle Fatty suddenly shrieked, "Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap." Everyone crowded around. Uncle Fatty swallowed hard. "The lottery numbers Luna gave me yesterday just hit the jackpot," the tall brother said in alarm. "Quick, check the previous winning draws." "Holy crap, these are the lottery numbers Luna gave me last time. And for this draw, aren't these the exact numbers she gave me as a prize after losing at rock, paper, scissors?" Everyone stared at me in disbelief. I just glanced at them dismissively and went back to jumping rope. "I told you so, but you wouldn't believe me." Just as everyone was closing in, ready to press me with more questions, Ash stormed over, his face contorted with rage. "Luna, go to your room. No, you all, come with me to the next room." I was startled by the look on Ash's face and was about to pout and cry as Serena walked over and took my hand. "Don't be scared, Luna, come back to the room with me." Back in the room, Serena looked at me with gentle eyes. "Luna, promise me one thing, never recite lottery numbers for anyone again." I looked at her with some confusion. "But why not? I like those uncles and brothers, and I want them to become rich." My sister reached out and gently brushed the stray hairs away from my forehead. "Luna, everyone likes money, but only the money we earn with our own hands has real value and meaning. Do you think cheating is right? Then what's the difference between telling your brothers the lottery numbers and helping them cheat? Promise me that from now on, no matter who asks you for the lottery numbers, you won't tell them. Not me, not Ash, not even your parents. Just like how you bravely kept it from your parents before, you need to keep it from everyone now." Listening to Serena's gentle voice, though I couldn't grasp her meaning, I nodded solemnly nonetheless. Beyond the fact that I stopped mentioning the lottery tickets, the other brothers in the room never brought up the lottery again either. It was as if lottery tickets had completely vanished from my life. Then one day, the sound of our new father's voice echoed through our home. He pounded on the door with thunderous force. "8, come out, give me back my daughter. If you don't hand her over, I'm calling the police." I trembled from head to toe in terror. My tall brother, who stayed home to play with me, said calmly, "Luna, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Now listen to me and go to your room." Not wanting to cause my brother any trouble, I retreated to my room trembling, but I left the door slightly ajar. I saw my brother go to open the door for Dad. The door had barely cracked open when my brother was shoved to the ground by a powerful force. 7 or 8 burly men filed into the room. Leading the group were my father and the owner of the potted doll shop. The pot shop owner scanned the surroundings. "Where's that wretched girl? Hand her over." My brother furrowed his brow and got up from the ground. "Who are you people? What are you doing in my house?" The flower pot shop owner let out a cold laugh. "You're just an outsider. How dare you arrest people on our turf? You're asking for death." As soon as the flower pot shop owner finished speaking, the thugs behind him closed in. They pinned my brother's arms and started beating him. I watched them kick my brother in the stomach. I watched them pummel my brother's head with their fists. Blood gushed from the corner of my brother's mouth. I clamped my hand over my own mouth, tears dripping down to soak my palm. When I saw them about to slam my brother's head against the wall, I rushed forward trembling. "Stop it, you can't hit my brother." Hearing my voice, my brother began trembling all over. He looked at me with tearful eyes. "Luna, run, get out of here." The flower shop owner sneered and delivered several more brutal kicks to my brother's head. I watched as more and more blood streamed down my brother's face, my body trembling. I picked up the fruit knife from the table and pressed it against the side of my neck. Don't any of you lay another hand on him, or I'll do it right now. You'll never get the lottery numbers. The lottery numbers I gave you earlier, they were fake. I know the real, winning numbers." The moment I spoke, my father's face instantly darkened. He glared at me with pure rage. "Luna, you little bitch, you even lied to me." I stared intently at the man I called my new father. You're not my real father at all. The moment I finished speaking, a sharp pain shot through the wrist holding the knife. 9. Then came a blow to my gut. A thug suddenly circled behind me, snatched the knife, and kicked me away like a rag doll. Seeing me beaten, my brother, who'd been knocked to the ground, clawed his way up with a savage grimace. He rushed over and tried to grab the thug who was about to seize me, but just as he was about to reach the fruit knife in the thug's hand instantly plunged into my brother's body. I stared in horror at the scene unfolding before me. I burst into tears, hysterical. I crawled desperately toward my brother. I clung to the thug's leg with a death grip. I frantically sank my teeth into the thug's flesh, but all I could see was the recurring image of my brother being stabbed repeatedly by the gangster. My brother's blood soaked my hair and stained my cheeks crimson until finally, my brother's body went limp like a broken puppet and was shoved aside by the thug. I scrambled up in terror, lunging for the knife in the thug's hand. I need a second chance at life. If I get to live again, my brother will survive. But before I could even lay a finger on him, he grabbed me and hoisted me off my feet. He grabbed my legs and gave them a practice twist. A loud crack echoed through the air. Excruciating pain instantly shot through my entire body. My legs went limp and dangled uselessly. The thug lifted me up like I was a helpless chick. The owner of the pot doll shop grinned at the thug. Jake's potting technique keeps improving. Fine then, once she reveals all the lottery numbers, we'll sell her off to another city as a pot doll. The new father fawned obsequiously at the pot doll shop owner. No problem, just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. I was dragged out the door by some thugs, but right at the entrance, I ran into Ash and my brothers. I screamed in terror, "Get out of here, don't come any closer, hurry, get out of here." I was shattered, like an old ox lowing in endless sorrow, but Ash and my brother didn't listen to me. He started walking toward me, my vision blurred with tears as I watched the scene unfold before me. I watched Ash kick the pot-bellied boss. I saw the other brothers restraining my father. In the blink of an eye, the thug holding me pressed a knife against my neck. "Let us go, or I'll slit her throat." Ash pulled a gun from his trouser pocket. The thug glared viciously at Ash. "Looks like you want this hostage dead." The thug was about to slash my throat with his blade. My body suddenly went heavy. 10. The hoodlum slammed me onto the ground. Just as I let out a blood-curdling scream, Ash caught me firmly in his arms. That's when I noticed the thug had been subdued by Serena. In panic, I wrapped my arms tightly around Ash's neck. "Ash, let me die. If I die, I can save tall brother. Tell him to kill me." Ash pressed my face firmly against his chest. "Hush now. This is grown-up business." No sooner had Ash spoken than the thug who'd been lying on the ground suddenly scrambled to his feet. He pulled a knife from his pant leg and lunged straight for Ash's back. My pupils contracted sharply. "Watch out." The next instant, Ash twisted aside. The blade sliced viciously across Ash's face. A torrent of blood instantly cascaded down. I stared at the scene in horror, sobbing and wailing. I reached out desperately to cover the wound on Ash's face, but the blood seemed to have a life of its own, relentlessly seeping through my fingers. No, please don't die." When I woke up again, I was in a white hospital room. My leg was in a cast, my forehead was wrapped in gauze. I looked at Serena sitting by the bedside. Tears instantly streamed down my face. He knocked on the door. "Sis, please let me die. That way I can save tall brother and Ash." Serena chuckled and ruffled my hair. "Silly goose. I asked your dad. Your resurrection ability can only be used once, and you've already used it up." I broke down into hysterical sobs. Then, does that mean even if I die, I can't save Ash and tall brother anymore? Just then, the hospital room doors swung wide open from the inside. Ash walked in with bandages wrapped around his face. "Tsk, what a waste of all that candy I bought you, you little ingrate, always wishing I were dead." I looked at Ash, caught between tears and laughter, but Ash turned his stern face toward me. "Listen here, little Luna. You need to calm down right this instant. If you keep giving the doctors a hard time and causing trouble, I'll have to spank your bottom." I flinched with a shiver down my spine from his scare, and he successfully earned himself an eye roll from Serena. But after Ash left, I felt inexplicably sad again. Every time I close my eyes, the scene of the tall brother's death reappears. I often jolt awake right after falling asleep. I'd often burst into tears for no apparent reason. Later, a lovely lady was admitted to our hospital room. She encouraged me to draw. She would tell me stories. She even played with me, but somehow gradually, the pain began to fade. I had been in the hospital for a long time before the doctors finally said I could be discharged. The moment I learned I was going to be discharged, I felt an unprecedented sense of panic. I had no idea where I would be sent. Serena seemed to have noticed my confusion. She smiled and linked arms with Ash. "Let's reintroduce ourselves, little Luna. Starting today, I'll be your mother, and he'll be your father. My eyes widened in disbelief. Will you be my new mom and dad? Ash looked at me with mild disdain. Exactly. If it weren't for you, your mother wouldn't have agreed to marry me. My standing in this family is pretty low. I giggled at Ash's, no, Dad's, remark. I went to my new dad and mom's house. The place was beautifully decorated, all in my favorite shade of pink. I even got my own room. Dad said I could do whatever I wanted, but I wasn't allowed to bother his wife, and without fail, he gets sent flying by Mom again every time. My parents would have me in stitches until one day, Mom came home with a backpack for me. He said I could start kindergarten. I was overjoyed at that moment. My greatest dream across 2 lifetimes had always been to receive an education. I had finally made that dream come true, but after the initial euphoria, an inexplicable melancholy settled over me. I asked gloomily, Mother, may I go visit Uncle Tall? 11. Mom's body gave a violent shudder. Luna, let's wait until you're a little older, okay? Even though I was utterly heartbroken, I knew Mom had my best interests at heart. Truth is, I'd known all along that the auntie who came to play with me in the hospital room was a psychologist. I saw the diary Mom keeps locked in the drawer, where she documents my daily life these days. Even though my heart often feels heavy and bitter, I still force back the urge to cry and put on a smile. Because that's what Mom and Dad want to see. I found out about my biological father's situation on a weekend afternoon that day. I took the $5 my mom gave me to buy soy sauce at the corner store downstairs. The elderly neighbor next to the store had his TV on, broadcasting the news. City Bus's largest human trafficking ring to date. 20 suspects involved, including Derek, Liang Xiaofeng. I stared fixedly at my biological parents standing in the dock. Beneath the news anchor's voice, I learned their final fate. Both Mom and Dad were sentenced to death. Beneath the news anchor's detached tone, the old man's furious muttering could be heard. These human traffickers deserve to have their family lines end with them. The old man's harsh words made my cheeks burn with shame. I rushed back home without even buying the soy sauce. Mom furrowed her brow slightly when she saw me. Luna, what's wrong? Tell me what happened. I forced a smile. I'm fine. To my surprise, my usually gentle mother suddenly lost her temper. Luna, cry right now. I mean this. Start crying. I shook my head with a faint smile. I'm fine. But Mom was the one who started crying. She yanked me up and landed several sharp smacks on my backside. Cry right now. You will cry for me. I couldn't tell whether Mom was being too harsh, or if my bottom just hurt that much. I burst into tears with a loud wail. My lips twisted bitterly. Mom, I'm the child of a human trafficker. I don't deserve to have children. I should have. Mom pulled me tightly into her embrace. No, you're not. You're the child of me, Serena, and Ash. Your name is Luna. You're not called Luna. Your father and mother are police officers. You're not the child of human traffickers. From today onward, I want you to burn these words into your memory. Hearing my mother's words, I cried even harder. That's right. I'm not the child of human traffickers. I'm the child of police officers. Just before my 6th birthday, my parents finally agreed to let me visit my tall brother that day. My mother asked what I wanted for my 6th birthday. I mustered up my courage and asked, Mom, can I go see the tall brother? Mom didn't give me an answer right away, but that same day, a fierce argument erupted from my parents' room. How could you agree? Why would you agree? Luna is still so young to be going through things like this. I won't allow anything that could hurt Luna. Serena, I know you care deeply about Luna, but she's not like other children. She's remarkably mature for her age. She'll be just fine. Just because Luna is mature, does that mean she should have to endure hardships that even adults struggle with? I'd rather she were like any ordinary child, without that burden of understanding, but that's what Luna wants, isn't it? 12. Lying in bed, I listened to Mom and Dad arguing because of me. My heart felt heavy and sour, but I still wanted to go see Uncle Tall Guy. But I never expected that when I woke up the next morning, the living room was already filled with lots of gifts. Dad came back from outside, drenched in sweat. I complained to my mom with a smile. Look at you. Why did you prepare so much stuff? Anyone who didn't know better would think we run a supermarket. My mom tidied up the fruit in the living room. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is Luna's first time going to Xander's house to thank him for saving her life. The gifts need to be substantial. My eyes widened in delight. Mom, does that mean you're letting me go to Uncle Xander's house? Mom came over and gently stroked my head. That's right. I'll always support whatever Luna wants to do. I went to Uncle Xander's house that very day. As I gazed at the black and white photograph displayed in the living room, I broke down in tears. I was hysterical. I remembered the moment when Xander saved me. I remembered how he was stabbed repeatedly, one brutal blow after another. I knelt down and kowtowed 3 times to Uncle Xander with deep reverence. Thank you, tall brother, For saving my life, I then kowtowed 3 times to Uncle Xander's parents, Grandma and Grandpa. From now on I'll be like your own granddaughter. When I grow up, I'll earn money to take care of you both, and Mom and Dad, thank you for giving me this wonderful life I have now. On my 6th birthday, Mom wanted to throw me a big birthday party. I told Mom I wanted to go to the lottery ticket store. Mom paused for a moment, then smiled and ruffled my hair as she agreed. I went to the lottery shop and bought the last set of numbers I remembered from my previous life. On the same day I claimed the prize, I donated all the money to the Red Cross. I requested that the funds be specifically allocated to rescuing trafficked children. On my 6th birthday, I made a wish. I wished for my brother Xander to become a baby and be Mom's child. I promised to take care of him just as he'd always taken care of me. Story 2. When I found the wounded celestial lord, I destroyed the life saving spirit herb without hesitation. In my past life, I toiled to heal him, yet when he awoke, his wounds shimmered with my junior sister's blue healing energy, not my crimson power. She tearfully accused me of stealing her precious herb, branded a thief by our clan. I was cast into the Blackwater dungeon as a lowly medicine slave, my flesh rotting until death claimed me in agony. Meanwhile, she ascended to immortality for saving the celestial lord, inheriting the entire valley of medicinal kings. When my eyes opened again, I'd returned to the day we first met, without my spirit herb this time. Let's see how my junior sister plans to save anyone. What should we do, senior sister? Should we hurry and save them? My junior sister's timid voice echoed in my ears as I opened my eyes, and there she stood before me. To my shock, I realized I'd been reborn, right back to the very day I first encountered the wounded divine sovereign. I glanced at my cousin's innocent face before turning to the injured divine lord lying on the ground. The pain from my past life still lingered, and now another wave of heartache washed over me, spreading bitterness through my entire being. My junior sister and I lived together in the Valley of Medicinal Kings. Gifted since childhood, I became the most skilled physician the valley had seen in centuries, yet my junior sister was mediocre in talent and prone to idleness. While gathering herbs on the mountainside, I came across a handsome young man gravely wounded by the roadside, bound by a healer's oath. I couldn't bear to leave him dying in the valley and devoted all my skills to save him. I even used the celestial herb I'd nurtured for decades, barely half matured, to revive him. Upon awakening, the man revealed himself as a celestial lord who would elevate his savior to immortal status. I eagerly shared the news with my junior sister, only for her to turn around and falsely accuse me of stealing her celestial herbs. I tried to explain, but she immediately produced evidence against me. She urged everyone to examine the man's wound, where the healer's medicinal energy would inevitably linger. She claimed the residual energy would clearly reveal who was lying. Everyone nodded in agreement, yet strangely, the energy flowing from the man's wound was my junior sister's blue medicinal power, not my red energy. At this point, the crowd fully believed her story, leaving me no chance to defend myself. And they call you the top healer, turns out you're just a petty thief stealing others' credit. Whispers and slander struck me down as the mob's condemnation echoed, dragging me off to the dungeons. In an instant, I fell from being the revered medical prodigy to becoming the lowest of drug-testing convict slaves. Day and night they tortured me, forcing every known poison into my body until my flesh rotted away in agony. My thoughts returned to the present as I gazed at my junior sister's innocent face. A barely detectable glint of hatred flashed in my eyes. Save her, of course we will, only this time, I'll make sure she reaps what she sows. Since she enjoys framing others, let her experience the misery of becoming the lowest grade medicine puppet. We brought the man back to the Valley of Medicinal Kings. My junior sister watched the man with visible concern, eager to save him immediately, yet she lacked experience and her medical skills were still unrefined. After channeling her spiritual energy multiple times, the man showed no signs of improvement. His condition only worsened. My junior sister was as frantic as an ant on a hot griddle. After yet another failed treatment, my junior sister looked at me with puppy dog eyes. Senior sister, he's in such bad shape, shouldn't we use the symbiotic immortal herb to save him? She tugged at my sleeve, but I remained silent, looking down at her with an air of superiority. Before we knew it, our master burst through the door and stormed toward us, his face flushed with anger. The Valley of Medicinal Herbs is a sacred place for immortals. How could you bring outsiders here so casually? Though visibly trembling, my junior sister stood alone, shielding the man with her body. Saving lives is the first lesson our master taught us. We cannot stand by and watch someone die. She spoke with righteous conviction, clearly determined to save him at all costs. The master flew into a rage upon hearing this and roared at us to get out. How dare you disobey me? Go kneel in the ancestral hall and reflect on your actions this instant. The master drove me out but kept my junior sister behind alone. As I left, I secretly eavesdropped on their conversation using my enhanced hearing. The junior sister shooed all the servants away and, after making sure no one was around, whispered mysteriously to the master, "The person we saved is of noble status. This might lead to extraordinary opportunities." The master studied her expression and found no trace of deception. His previously angry countenance softened into one of quiet satisfaction. "Our little one has finally grown up and become sensible." I withdrew my magic, only then realizing my junior sister had also been reborn. Just then, my master called out to stop me. "Enough, come back now, no need to kneel in punishment at the ancestral hall." Deep down I already knew what he was thinking, yet I still turned back. The master paused thoughtfully, wearing a contemplative expression, then addressed us. "Since childhood, I've taught you never to abandon those in mortal peril. Now that you've mastered our arts, this is your moment to save a life." Throughout this, the master repeatedly hinted that I should use my bonded spirit herb to heal the man. My heart ached violently, and a dull sting crept up my nose. It seems my very existence was just to pave the way for my junior sister. All my efforts now seem utterly ridiculous in hindsight. From the moment I stepped into the Valley of Medicinal Kings, no matter how hard I tried, our master always favored my junior sister. Even though my junior sister was mediocre in talent, the master patiently demonstrated the spells to her over and over again too. Yet when I showed the slightest slack, the master mercilessly punished me by making me stand in the snow. Now, just because of my junior sister's dubious claim, he actually believed her and pushed me aside. Resentment, indignation, a whirlwind of emotions churned in my heart. In this second life of mine, I'll definitely expose how my junior sister swapped my spirit herbs. I'll clear my name and reveal my junior sister's true colors to everyone. Go save him now. The master knows you've always had a kind heart since childhood. You wouldn't leave someone to die. The master put on this whole act of caring for me, but never actually had my best interests at heart. Faced with my master's emotional blackmail, I had no choice but to pretend to agree for the moment. With such compassion from my master, of course I must go to the rescue, just as expected. After I said this, he and my junior sister exchanged smug smiles, their eyes gleaming with undisguised cunning. I smiled at them with utmost sincerity before making up an excuse to send them away. I don't like having people around when I'm treating patients. Normally I'm aloof and stubborn, never yielding an inch when it comes to things I refuse to do. My master had expected me to refuse. Seeing my attitude, he immediately took my junior sister away without another word, as if afraid I'd change my mind. I looked at the suffering man on the bed and rubbed my temples wearily. I examined the spirit herb on me again, recalling how in my past life when my junior sister inspected the wounds, the man's injuries unexpectedly emitted a blue medicinal aura. Now I had no choice but to blame my spirit herb for this. Upon closer inspection, though the herb appeared normal on the surface, its roots emitted a faint blue glow barely noticeable to the eye against the backdrop of my crimson radiance. This faint luminescence seemed even more insignificant. The light was so domineering, as if it would invade my sacred herb's territory. The moment I let my guard down, examining the roots closely, I immediately recognized the distinctive blue vein pattern, my junior sister's signature mark. My heart wrenched with sudden pain. The herb that had accompanied me for decades now pulsed with her medicinal essence, spreading the herb across my palm. I steeled myself before slowly closing my fist, crushing it beyond recovery. Tears streamed down as the celestial herb perished, leaving nothing but bitterness in my heart. The powdered remnants of the sacred herb scattered with the wind. Clearly my junior sister had tampered with it. I silently vowed to uncover the truth and cultivate a new batch uncontaminated by her meddling. As I began nurturing fresh seedlings, my junior sister happened to pass by, feigning innocent curiosity. "Senior sister, don't you already have an identical spirit herb? Why cultivate another one?" My junior sister voiced her confusion, mistakenly thinking we lacked enough medicinal herbs to treat the man, saving that man meant everything to her, so she cautiously asked me, "Senior sister, if we're short on herbs, just tell me, I'll go gather more for you." Seeing my junior sister's feigned innocence made me sick to my stomach. I forced a friendly smile and lied through my teeth. "The elder needs these herbs for new medicine, that's why I'm cultivating them." She nodded vaguely and asked no further questions. In her mind, as long as I could heal that man, I'd served my purpose. Whatever else I did wouldn't concern her. I never hid my cultivation of spirit herbs from the Valley of Medicine masters, and soon others began questioning my actions. Why would I cultivate new herbs when I already had mature ones at hand? Whispers followed me, but I neither answered nor explained. Soon the questions ceased, and my cultivation progressed even faster. The spirit herbs finally flourished under my meticulous care. I examined the mystical herb with great excitement, its potent energy radiating a vibrant crimson glow that matched my own alchemical aura. With a weight lifted from my heart, I plucked the herb and carefully separated its leaves for the brewing ritual. Surely now, I thought, the herb's essence would fully assimilate into my signature scarlet potency. Eagerly tossing the herb into the cauldron, I was stunned to see faint azure flickers emerge during the alchemical process. Puzzled, I halted my incantation and picked up the freshly formed elixir, only to find it once again tainted with my junior sister's azure essence. Rage surged through me. With a flick of my wrist, I reduced the painstakingly cultivated celestial herbs to ashes in an instant. Fury burned in my chest. Why did my alchemy always end this way? My elixirs inevitably replaced by her damned blue concoctions. When my master and junior sister entered my alchemy chamber, they immediately began snooping around like suspicious rodents. I knew they were watching to see if I'd actually save anyone, but the moment they stepped in, they witnessed me destroying the celestial herb. Now with the half-life herb reduced to dust, my master stormed over in fury, jabbing a finger at my face as he berated me. How dare you destroy something as sacred as the half-life herb on a whim? My junior sister chimed in with malicious glee, her face twisted in spiteful mockery. If you didn't want to save them, you should have just said so. Now that you've destroyed the symbiotic spirit herb, how are we supposed to heal anyone? She struck a self-righteous pose, making it seem like I was the villain who refused to help. Faced with our master and junior sister's accusations, I didn't get angry. Instead, I looked at her with feigned innocence and said, "Junior sister, the companion herb won't save them, only the linglong grass works." The companion herb failed and burned itself to ashes when the revival attempt collapsed. I feigned helplessness, my voice laced with undetectable venom. The bait's been cast, now we wait for the fish to bite. Understanding flashed in my junior sister's eyes as the corners of her mouth curled into a conspicuous smirk. "Oh, I see now." My junior sister flashed me a triumphant smile, her eyes seeming to say, "So this is how you save people, you're nothing special." The truth was, that delicate spirit herb was her bonded companion plant, but the linglong grass only grew in such harsh environments that it was rarely ever seen. The only places to harvest linglong grass were the bitter cold mountain peaks or the treacherous depths of raging rivers. What should we do, senior sister? We don't have that linglong grass now. The junior sister looked genuinely distressed, her urgency to save lives making everyone praise her kindness. I pointed her in a direction and turned to her. "The linglong grass you're looking for grows on this mountain, though harvesting it might prove challenging." She shrugged with indifference, yet her eyes burned with determination. "If it saves lives, any sacrifice is worth making." My junior sister put on such a convincing act of being determined to save lives that everyone praised her maturity. Even our master kept nodding approvingly. True enough, after hearing my words, she actually went alone to the high mountains to gather the celestial herbs. After she left, I went by myself to the base of the cliff. The linglong grass, a symbiotic celestial herb, the medicine refined from it always gets replaced by my junior sister's blue medicinal energy. I suspect the celestial herb was contaminated by my junior sister's blue alchemical energy, which caused the elixir refinement to fail. Legend says natural spirit herbs are nurtured by the essence of heaven and earth, remaining untainted by external influences. However, these spirit herbs grow in extremely elusive locations that shift with the passage of time. After prolonged analysis and searching, I've concluded the natural spirit herb should currently be beneath the cliffs of the Herbal King Valley today. Just as expected, after descending the cliff, I spotted a natural spirit herb brimming with spiritual energy. It radiated an awe-inspiring aura, emanating the sacred essence of heaven and earth that no mortal should profane. 3. The spirit herb grew in a perilous location, and magic couldn't be used for harvesting. To avoid damaging this natural treasure, I had to collect it by hand. After relentless effort, I finally succeeded in gathering the natural spirit herb. I believe these naturally grown spiritual herbs, nurtured by heaven and earth, would remain unaffected by the spiritual energy of my junior sister and me. The refined medicine would undoubtedly carry the essence of my own spiritual power. I took out my portable alchemy furnace and eagerly tossed in the natural spiritual herbs. Obsessed with producing elixirs free from my junior sister's blue-hued medicinal energy, I paid no attention to the brewing process. My sole focus was on perfecting the concoction. The elixir was finally refined, and I took it out once more. To my surprise, I spotted my junior sister's blue spiritual essence lingering on the pill. Faint wisps of blue energy hovered over the elixir, almost as if mocking me. The absurdity of it all enraged me, and in my fury, I destroyed the freshly brewed elixir. Left with no choice, I prepared to retreat from the cliff to reconsider my strategy. Just as I took flight, to my surprise, an invisible barrier had materialized above the cliff. Time And again I charged upward, only to be violently repelled, each failed attempt leaving me more grievously wounded. I looked up at the barrier, utterly bewildered, yet upon that barrier flowed an eerie blue mist of celestial energy. My junior sister's blue medicinal energy clung to me like a vengeful specter, refusing to dissipate. A sudden sense of foreboding gripped my heart. Though this barrier pulsed with my junior sister's blue energy, her cultivation was still unrefined. How could she possibly have crafted such a formidable formation? It felt like someone knew I was coming and deliberately set a trap to return sooner. I sacrificed half my core elixir to forge a sword, barely managing to break through the barrier and escape. Right now, my spirit is unstable and I'm gravely injured. Every step feels like climbing a slope, blood still stains the corner of my mouth, and my clothes are torn in several places. Looking every bit like a beggar pleading for alms, passers-by shot me contemptuous looks, and my bizarre alchemy practices only fueled their scornful remarks, yet some showed me a glimmer of pity. I felt helpless and wronged, furious yet powerless. A whirlwind of emotions overwhelms me, and I feel myself crumbling. Why do I always end up with junior sister's blue alchemical energy? I'm completely drained, and I can't fathom how she manages this. Did my junior sister do something to me behind my back? With her amateurish skills, there's no way she could oppose me like this on her own. I must have missed something. On my way back, I encountered more and more people, their expressions growing increasingly hostile toward me. Alarmed, I activated temporal reversion and finally discovered the truth. Turns out my junior sister knew about my alchemy plans and, seeing the man showed no signs of recovery, had prepared in advance to pressure me into treating him publicly. She thought I couldn't handle the pressure, so she rallied everyone against me. All her scheming was just to pave the way for her own ascension. Ignoring the shocked looks around me, I stormed straight back to the Medicine King Valley's cottage. Seeing the man lying weak on the bed, I pressed my dagger against his chest without hesitation. Just then, noises came from outside the door. When I turned, I saw my junior sister leading a group into the room. They happened to witness the moment when I pressed the knife against the man's chest to them. A knife seemed only capable of killing. Seeing the blade in my hand, they all began condemning me. My junior sister took the lead in denouncing me. Crossing her arms with a shocked expression, she said, "Senior sister, if you didn't want to save him, fine, but now you're trying to silence him permanently." People started hurling insults at me without even knowing the full story. For exactly, not only did she refuse to help, now she's trying to kill the person. Who would have thought she turned out to be such a vicious person? They kept judging me recklessly, even threatening to punish me as the villain. My master walked in and looked at me with utter disappointment, even threatening to throw me into the dungeon. "I never thought you'd turn out like this. If word gets out, it'll disgrace me. When you're out there, don't you dare tell anyone I'm your master." The master wore that look of frustrated disappointment, as if he'd made up his mind to brand me a villain. The crowd started praising the master's decision, saying a wicked woman like me deserved nothing but punishment. "In that case, you shall reflect on your actions in the celestial prison." My master said it so casually, as if I belonged in that heavenly dungeon all along. Seeing my master's attitude sent a chill through me. Apparently in both this life and the last, he was determined to lock me in that dungeon. No matter what happens, master always sides with my junior sister. My heart ached, but I forced composure, mustering a strained smile while steadying my voice. "Who said anything about killing?" The crowd stared at me in bewilderment, then at the knife in my hand, as if observing a fool. Yet some began to trust me. My reputation as the benevolent healer of Medicine King Valley made it unthinkable that I'd wield a blade for murder. Those people still believe I had my reasons for holding that knife. Seeing the tension ease slightly, my junior sister grew frantic. "You're already wielding a knife, if not to kill, then what? Must he stop breathing entirely for it to count as murder? Your guilty conscience betrays you. Spare us the excuses." Her words reignited murmurs among the crowd. Some found my junior sister's argument persuasive, while others remained steadfast in their trust of me. Unfazed, I rose calmly and addressed them with composure. "Just watch." All eyes turned to the man's face, and true enough, as I spoke, his eyelids gradually fluttered open. The man sat up with remarkable vigor, looking so revitalized one might mistake him for returning from spiritual cultivation. The junior sister barely had time to be shocked as she saw the man sit up, immediately putting on a fawning expression. Paying no attention to her, the man exuded authority and cleared his throat. "Who saved me?" Before anyone could react, the junior sister rushed forward with feigned urgency, blatantly trying to steal credit. "It was me. Senior sister wanted to kill you." I stopped her just in time. Just like in our past life, she accused me with wild gestures, determined to cement My villainous reputation unhurried, I flashed my junior sister a smirk laced with undisguised derision. I'm clearly the one who saved his life. Your desperation is rather transparent, don't you think? Undeterred, my junior sister wore a triumphant expression. I have proof, irrefutable proof. Just examine your wound. My medicinal energy lingers there. The traces don't lie. Last lifetime. She won with this fabricated evidence, but this time, I won't play into her hands. The man immediately checked his wound, but this time, there was no trace of the blue bloodstains his junior sister had described. Panic flashed across the junior sister's face. How could this be? Where is it? This makes no sense. My blue medicinal essence should be visible here. Refusing to accept defeat, she kept insisting that the man's wound should still be oozing with her medicinal energy. The man frowned in displeasure. There's no medicinal effect on my wound as you claimed. Are you playing me for a fool? Only after the man spoke did everyone realize they'd been deceived by their junior sister. When the truth came out, they all turned against the junior sister, convinced she was trying to steal credit for my work. Who would have thought the youngest disciple was the one stealing others' merits? Yeah, she always seemed so well behaved. How could this happen? 5. Every word struck a chord in her heart, and tears welled up in the junior sister's eyes. It's not true. I didn't. Sobs. The junior sister sobbed while desperately trying to explain, but her words were instantly drowned out by the crowd's accusations. The group kept chattering away, completely disregarding her feelings. Seeing the crowd's reaction, the master flew into a rage. With one sharp rebuke, everyone fell silent. There's no blue medicinal potency here, but neither is there your red potency. Even if your junior sister didn't save anyone, there's no way it could have been you. Why are you attacking your junior sister like this? What twisted your mind so viciously? Are you really that desperate to steal credit? After the master spoke, the crowd quickly changed their tune and began defending him. Some even started condemning me, saying I shouldn't have disregarded our sex bonds by accusing my junior sister, and they even thought I was trying to steal credit, which suddenly complicated the situation. Instead of getting angry, I smiled and calmly explained my previous actions. I turned to the man unhurriedly and addressed him with neither humility nor arrogance. This is an ancient healing technique. I press the knife against your chest solely to stimulate your body's natural healing ability. This is a secret medical technique from ancient texts. I set up the healing array in advance to activate your self-recovery abilities. That's how you were saved. After I spoke, the crowd finally understood and turned hostile gazes toward my junior sister. Ignoring them, I continued addressing the man directly. So the one who saved you wasn't me, nor my junior sister. It was entirely your own doing. Even as I said this, everyone realized it was me who saved the man before us. The disciples all accused our master of favoritism and began standing up for me. Who knew our master would play favorites like this? Ever since junior sister joined, she's been treated differently. Now that you mention it, that does seem to be the case. Everyone believed that if not for the master's indulgence, their junior sister wouldn't have turned out this way. The man frowned slightly, and only after his deliberate cough did the hall fall silent. Though his voice wasn't loud, it carried undeniable authority, as if his mere words commanded submission. When the man revealed his identity, none expected someone of such high status, a figure even the entire Valley of Medicinal Kings dared not offend. I am the divine sovereign of heaven. Your healing hands have saved me, and in return, I shall grant you the chance to attain immortality. What say you? At these words, the crowd erupted in cheers, with many applauding for me. As a prodigy of medicine, I've now become the first disciple to achieve immortality, all thanks to this man. With a wave of his hand, he instantly appointed me as the master of the Valley of Medicinal Kings. With a pleased expression, he told me, "You've got real talent. Once you make another breakthrough, I'll promote you." I nodded at him, only to catch my junior sister looking absolutely green with envy, but we had no time to mind her. The man turned back to our master. After speaking, "You've presided over the Valley of Medicinal Kings long enough, it's time to retire." Then he turned to the crowd and formally acknowledged my status before them all. "From this day forth, she shall be your Valley Master of Medicine King Valley. All of you must obey her commands." The crowd erupted in cheers and immediately began prostrating before me. My master scowled in displeasure, shouting at the kneeling figures, "What nonsense is this? No kneeling. On your feet, all of you." With a silencing spell from the man, our master fell speechless, his face flushing crimson with suppressed rage. Turning to my junior sister with an unreadable glint in his eyes, he declared, "This wretch is venomous at heart. Let her rot in the thorn prison." The girl wailed and tried to prostrate herself in mercy, but the man callously kicked her aside. "Valley Master, what shall be done with this prisoner?" Without a word from me, the servants understood my intention and dragged the intruder Away, a torrent of obscenities filled my ears as my junior sister's voice echoed through the hall, nearly every word directed at me. The crowd looked astonished. Their usually gentle and quiet junior sister had revealed her true colors. I chuckled softly. What better way to expose her true nature to everyone? After attaining immortality, my magical powers grew exponentially as I sat upon the throne, radiating celestial brilliance. 6. Every herb and apprentice in the Valley of Medicinal Kings underwent profound advancement. Since my ascension, the entire valley has been transformed beyond recognition. No trace remains of its former dilapidated state. The masses bowed in reverence before me. I established a free clinic to treat those who couldn't afford medical care due to poverty. I also founded the Herb Sanctuary, taking in homeless orphans and providing them with dedicated tutors. The common folk began regarding me as a divine maiden incarnate, even building a shrine in my honor. The crown prince, traveling incognito, came across the shrine the people had erected for me. Curious about my identity, he inquired around, and the townsfolk eagerly explained who I was. His curiosity turned to astonishment. He'd never encountered such a remarkable woman before. He paid me a personal visit, moved by my compassion, and thus began his ardent courtship for the sake of Medicine King Valley and its people. I declined his advances. He accepted my refusal gracefully, though not without regret, and from that day my renown spread far and wide. I was quite surprised when my master suddenly paid me a visit. He wouldn't come without a reason. There must be something behind this unexpected visit. What brings you here? My face remained expressionless. I couldn't muster even a shred of respect for my master anymore. To my surprise, my master suddenly broke down in tears, pleading, "Please, let your junior sister go." I never realized how much she meant to him until that moment. A bitter ache spread through my body as my heart throbbed with pain. Choking back a sob, I asked him with trembling voice, "Why must you always favor her?" With tears in his eyes and voice trembling, my master confessed, "Your junior sister is my own flesh and blood." Sniffling, I nearly shouted, "So you just stand by while she tries to kill me?" The master fell silent at once, glaring at me with clear displeasure. I still refused to spare her. "Your junior sister is a murderer. Even if released, she'd only wreak havoc. Abandon this foolish notion." Seeing my stubborn resistance, the master stomped in fury and dropped a bombshell revelation. You never realized, did you? I've placed a forbidden curse on you since childhood. Refuse to release your junior sister, and you'll perish together." The master glared at me with sinister certainty, utterly convinced I'd yield. That's when it dawned on me why my junior sister always replaced me in the final stages of alchemy. If I refused to save her, he'd make sure I paid with my life. Seeing my resolute stance, my master lunged at me without hesitation. The cold blade reflected my terrified face. I finally understood my master was hellbent on killing me. With a pained howl, the master was pinned to the ground, vomiting a mouthful of blood and agony. He didn't bother identifying his attacker, instead fixing me with a venomous glare filled with pure hatred. He laughed darkly, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Even if you've wounded me, you'll still die just the same." The master's face twisted into something terrifying, his unblinking eyes fixed on me, as if all his previous mercy, kindness, and righteousness belonged to another lifetime. 7. I stared back at him blankly, showing no reaction, locked in our silent standoff. "What makes you think I'll die?" With a challenging glance, I shot him a look of deliberate nonchalance. The mentor's terrifying demeanor merged with his usual benevolent appearance. Somehow he'd become a completely different person. His face froze in shock as he stared at me in utter disbelief. What's going on? Why aren't you dead from the poison?" A smirk played on my lips, but my eyes remained icy cold. "The day I attained immortality, I purged all forbidden arts from my being. Master, when you cast that curse, did it never occur to you this day would come?" With that, I clapped my hands and summoned several attendants. The master's face twisted in sudden realization, panic washing over his features. "Please, I beg you, don't do this to me." I ordered him to be thrown into the thorn cavern as a medicine test subject. He wailed and screamed, cursing me for being heartless. "You ungrateful wretch, after all I've taught you with such devotion, this is how you repay me. I am your master. Get out, all of you, get the hell out." How dare he still claim to be my master? I've already disowned him in my heart. Nothing he says matters to me anymore, whether in this life or the last. My conscience is clear when it comes to them, despite their master's protests. He was dragged away. Rumor has it both he and his junior sister endured extreme torture, receiving far harsher punishments than most. They were flayed alive, their leg bones fashioned into gruesome bowls to force-feed them experimental poisons. Even before becoming poison test subjects, they'd tyrannized Medicine King Valley, making countless enemies. When their fortunes finally turned, everyone sought vengeance, hence their exceptionally cruel punishment. The day before the Execution. I went to see them. When my junior sister recognized me, her gaunt face twisted with hatred despite her exhaustion. Our master looked utterly drained, like a hollowed-out husk clinging to his last breath. Just as I turned to leave, my junior sister suddenly screamed at me like a madwoman. Why wasn't I the one who achieved immortality? Her face was smeared with blood, her gaze turned shadowy, filled with resentment, yet utterly devoid of remorse. Recalling her deeds, I let out a scornful chuckle. What was never yours will never be yours, my junior sister roared with rage upon hearing my words, struggling to break free as the clanking of chains echoed through the valley. Her furious screams mingled with the metallic clatter, like the last impotent rage of a sewer rat, but I pretended not to hear and walked away without looking back. Only her repetitive cries remained, reverberating through the empty valley. Come back, I said, come back. Under my governance, the valley of medicinal herbs has flourished. Abundant harvests now grow where injuries were once commonplace. The valley brims with spiritual energy, and no widows or orphans wander homeless in this world. A utopian harmony now permeates the entire valley of medicinal herbs. The man witnessed my abilities and nodded approvingly before deciding to return to the celestial realm. On the day of his return, he spoke to me at length. Actually, there's one more thing I haven't told you. Puzzled, I eagerly asked what it was. How could a celestial being like him keep secrets from me? I've been reborn. His words stunned me. So I wasn't the only one reborn. Did he also remember our past life? In our previous life, after being deceived by your junior sister, I uncovered the truth and used the cosmic reversal technique to grant us both this rebirth. Before I could process the shock, my mind kept replaying those words I'd said to my junior sister. What's yours will always be yours, and what isn't will never be. You were always meant to be a celestial being. In this lifetime, you must govern the Valley of Medicinal Kings with wisdom and achieve greatness. Still reeling from the shock, I could only nod dumbly. I thought even if you didn't save me in this lifetime, I'd still make it up to you. Never expected you'd turn danger into safety with such a brilliant solution. With your remarkable abilities, you must dedicate yourself to great achievements. With those words, he bid me farewell and ascended to the heavens upon a rainbow-hued cloud. When your virtuous deeds are complete, come meet me in the celestial realm. His words echoed with an ethereal quality through the empty valley. I nodded silently, a single tear escaping the corner of my eye. Master and junior sister have received their due retribution, and the knot in my heart has finally unraveled. Learning the truth that man had concealed from me brought fresh tears. But now at last I can truly embrace my own life. I shall devote myself to studying the magic of celestial herbs and governing the Valley of Medicinal Kings with diligence. When my work here is complete, I'll relinquish my position to live as a carefree immortal, wandering where my heart desires. Story 2. I've been bitten by the love bug, so I posted a video to fish for attention. In the video, there's a man in a suit, only his vague silhouette visible. Yet the comment section exploded with wild mentions of the CEO of Yen Corporation, just as someone mocked me, saying, even the assistant of a D-list celebrity is trying to gain popularity. A video posted by an employee of Yen Corporation quickly trended. In the video, that famously indifferent man is eagerly tagging himself with a secondary account, his dark eyes serious. Tag a few more times, don't let her mistake someone else for me. After securing several endorsements from brands under Yen Corporation, my best friend, with tears in her eyes, hugged me and said, babe, I've really hitched my wagon to a star thanks to you. 1. After graduating from college, my best friend Wen and I bravely ventured into the entertainment industry. 5 years on, she remains an unknown in the industry, and I've been her inconspicuous assistant, living off her no fame, but no shortage of bad roles either. We had freedom to date, stable income, yet actors who started at the same time as Wen have become hot stars. Each time she watched those videos of them walking the red carpet, she'd say enviously, gasping for air, that damn ex broke up with him and he's been stifling my popularity for 5 years. He can't stand to see me succeed. While I didn't think our situation was too bad, I knew Wen was more ambitious. She loved acting. I fed her strawberries to calm her down. Didn't he say you can go back to him anytime? Maybe talk to him. Let him not be such a sore loser. Frustrated, Wen threw her phone and gritted her teeth. Go back to him. As if I'd bow down to some tycoon's son. I refuse to believe my life will be so mediocre. Suddenly, she turned to look at me, her eyes brightening. Chin, why don't you find a boyfriend, ideally someone with a higher status than my ex, and then keep funneling resources my way? I want to play the leading lady too. I caught her as she threw herself at me. Wen, are you really pinning your hopes on me now? I can't do it. She looked serious. Nonsense. You're so beautiful. There aren't many men who deserve you. What kind of man can't you date? I knew how ordinary I was, ever since I Was little, I was the gentle, unnoticeable type in any crowd. Jiang Qian, you're beautiful, a compliment not even my mother had given me, but when complimented me the most, when she looked at me, there was a layer in her eyes that others didn't have. I always had blind faith in her. Whatever she said, I believed. Suddenly my eyes sparkled. Really, am I that charming? Wen nodded. Of course, you're super charming. Seeing her determined look, I pulled up my phone. All right, then I'll post a video right now. I saw a handsome guy a few days ago and have been keeping it to myself. Normally, my reserved nature would never allow such actions, but Wen was stunned. What? Are you serious? I stared at the unintentionally captured silhouette on my phone for a long time before softly saying, Wen, I thought after I fell for someone in my teens, I would never feel the same for anyone else, but somehow, when I caught this silhouette by accident, my heart skipped a beat. Every time I look at it, it happens again. Determined, Wen stood up. Let me help you with the caption. Qian, don't be trapped by that unrequited love from your teens. You've finally come to your senses, and I absolutely can't let this guy get away. Too. Wen took my phone and posted the video. In it, there's just a vague silhouette of a man with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, appearing quite tall. The video was only a few seconds long, and fearing it wouldn't be enough, Wen slowed down the footage. The caption she came up with was, "Oh great internet, could you instantly provide me the contact info of this handsome guy? Although it's just a silhouette, it's totally my type. I've got the love bug. Please help a girl out." Looking at the caption, I felt incredibly nervous. It was definitely something I would never dare to say myself. I didn't have high hopes, but surprisingly, my video, despite having only a few fans, went viral. The comments section was buzzing with enthusiasm. Nice, I'm all over this. The sisters have good taste. Even just from his silhouette I can tell he's handsome. Isn't that the classic powerful CEO silhouette? I mean, from just this silhouette, I can sense a detached and noble aura. Does this kind of man even watch videos? He seems like the serious and handsome boss type. No way, sis. You didn't connect in person and now you're fishing across the whole network. The video quickly racked up hundreds of thousands of likes. And soon the comments section was flooded with mentions of the CEO of Yen Corporation from a private account. Users were shocked. No way, someone dared to tag the CEO of Yen Corporation. They recognized him from his silhouette. Wow, it does kind of look like him. When I saw the name Yen Jing, my heart skipped several beats. How could this be? It's unbelievable. I wouldn't believe it even if threatened at knife point. Yen Jing is the youngest CEO of Yen Corporation. He is famously indifferent and has high standards for work, also known as the most unattainable man. In just a few years, he turned Yen Corporation into a dominant force. His name is well known, and I'm just an ordinary person. Soon, mocking voices started appearing in the comments section. Heaven, how could an ordinary person be worthy of Yen Jing? What? Even the assistant of some obscure celebrity is trying to gain popularity. That's Yen Jing. How could anyone think they're a match for him? I think I've seen assistant Wen before. She seemed like a quiet and honest person. I didn't expect her to try to connect with Yen Jing. That account that tagged Yen Jing is private and only follows her. Could it be her own burner account? Such a schemer. Even if she spams tags, Mr. Yen won't respond. No one in the circle dares to spread rumors about Mr. Yen. Everyone knows how much he hates these tactics. Just an assistant. She'd better tell her actor to improve his acting skills instead of being a nobody after so many years. The ridiculing voices grew louder, and when one was infuriated, are these people born with such keyboards? Criticize me all you want, but not when I'm not famous. I'll go and fight back now. I'm not someone who curses at others. I even blush when I speak too loudly, but like when I can take criticism against me but not against her. Stubbornly, I held my bowl and squatted in the comments section, ready to lash out at anyone who attacked my best friend, but neither Wen nor I had ever seen such huge traffic, and inexperienced as we were, our attempts to fight back didn't succeed. Wen, with red-rimmed eyes, wanted to hire an internet army to help us fight back, but I stopped her as things started to spiral out of control. I was certain the silhouette in the video wasn't Yen Jing since it was filmed near my ordinary neighborhood, a place Yen Jing would never visit. But everyone knows how much Yen Jing despises being involved in rumors. If he took offense, it could spell the end of Wen's career as a star, so I quickly deleted the video, praying that no one from Yen Corporation had seen it. But the day after I deleted the video, a video posted by an employee of Yen Corporation surged to the top of trending searches. In the video, Yen Jing not only wore the same suit as the silhouette in my video, but his lips were also restrainedly curled, the typically aloof man, while using a secondary account to vigorously tag himself, muttered, "Tag a few more times. Don't let her recognize the wrong person." The video looks like it was secretly filmed, but every angle is captured just right. I dare not link it to the video I posted about rescuing someone, convincing myself it must be a coincidence. Definitely just a coincidence then. With a bang, my best friend kicks the door open excitedly. Chan, I got a sponsorship. A mere nobody, actually got a brand sponsorship from Yin Corporation. My chicken leg drops to the floor with a plop. My best friend, wiping the tears streaming down her face, hugs me. What's up? Are you overwhelmed with joy? I don't blame you. I'm thrilled too, sweetie. I'm really riding on your coattails now. That figure in the background was indeed Yan Jing. It's not easy to get a shot of him. Feeling uneasy, I say, Wen, that's Yan Jing. So what if it's Yan Jing? He's just a man with 2 eyes and a mouth. I bet he's interested in you. When did you ever have any interaction with him? Wen hugs me, beaming. The CEO of Yen Corporation really has good taste, showing interest in my Chan. Suddenly, as if realizing something, she pauses her hug. Wait a minute, Chan, didn't you and Yan Jing go to the same high school? I don't speak, just nod carefully. My best friend says, I knew it. How come you suddenly figured it out? That really is Yan Jing. You didn't expect that, did you? A person whom you've admired from the back happens to be the same one you had a crush on in your teens. My heart feels like it's being gripped, as memories of my youth flood in. Nobody knows that the name Yan Jing appeared most frequently on my draft papers. Wen lets go of me, cheerfully opens the closet, and starts picking out unopened clothes. As I come to my senses, I see her holding up clothes against me. Wen, what are you doing? Wen raises her eyebrows at me. Yin Corporation has scheduled a meeting to discuss a partnership tomorrow. I'm picking out clothes for you to wear. Trust me, the CEO of Yen Corporation definitely has a crush on you. Yan Jing having a crush on me, it's something I can't even dare to think about, as I'm such a boring person who he'd likely find least attractive. He's exceptional, and in my eyes, he's someone I can barely look up to. There's just too much of a gap between us. I can only see this collaboration as Yan Jing doing a favor for an old classmate, but the video posted by an employee of Yen Corporation has disturbed my peace of mind, and I'm afraid I can't hold back much longer. Standing in the lobby of Yin Corporation, waiting for the elevator, I feel uncomfortable in the clothes and high heels Wen picked for me. Just about to press the elevator button, a well-defined hand reaches from behind me and presses it first. My body freezes. My heart feels like it's been gently struck. It's Yan Jing. His fingers are slender, the back of his hand broad and beautiful, a truly handsome hand. Even without seeing the person, I know it's him. Seeing that I don't turn around, a deep, pleasant voice sounds above my head. Jiang Qian. I purse my lips, slowly turn around, and look up to see a handsome face. His dark eyes seem to curve slightly. Yan Jing's eyebrows lift a bit, and the corners of his mouth subtly curl up. Have you had breakfast? I nod blankly, my gaze falling on the suit he's wearing. The suit, which should look formal, somehow appears effortlessly casual on him. Indeed, only he could make a suit look so rakish. Without thinking, I say softly, long time no see, classmate Yan Jing. Yan Jing leans in slightly, his eyes level with mine. It's not just a long time no see, you were the one who cut off contact with me. I'm a timid person, always hesitant, and after realizing my own feelings, I was the first to break off contact after high school graduation. I didn't expect that our first meeting after so many years would start with him bringing this up. With my head lowered, I quietly apologized. I'm sorry. Yan Jing didn't make it difficult for me. Seeing my drooping head, he straightened up, his voice carrying a hint of pleasure. I forgive you. Was it really that simple to move on? Was he in a good mood? I was considering whether to make further small talk, as having a good relationship could facilitate much smoother cooperation with my best friend, Director Yin. Suddenly, a man who appeared to be an assistant rushed over from a distance and pushed me aside, looking puzzledly at Yan Jing. President, this is the staff elevator. Your private elevator is over there. I couldn't tell if it was just my imagination, but Yan Jing stiffened for a moment. His handsome face turned cold as he glanced at Assistant Qin, hands in his pockets, and said nonchalantly, "Let's go. Thanks for reminding me. I didn't realize this was the staff elevator." Assistant Qin, sensing the awkward atmosphere, turned to my best friend and said, "Miss Wen, please take your time coming up. The staff elevator is a bit slow." Before scurrying after Yan Jing, he carefully took out a handkerchief and asked, "President, you have a germophobia. You just touched the staff elevator button. Would you like to wipe your hands?" Yan Jing didn't even look at Assistant Qin, his aura growing colder. "No need. Don't talk to me." My gaze followed his retreating figure. After several years, he seemed to carry an aura of composed nobility. In the meeting room, I sat on pins and needles. Yan Jing reclined lazily in the main seat, tapping the table lightly with his long fingers. Perhaps it was just my imagination, but I felt Yanjing's gaze occasionally drifting towards me. The him at work and the him I had just met seemed like two different people. His features were particularly sharp, so even when his lips curved into a smile, it felt cold. Everyone in the meeting room seemed quite afraid of him, and the tense atmosphere began to affect me. I shrank back, thinking I was just Wenwen's assistant and had no real part in this meeting. I just needed to get through it. But at the end of the meeting, when all the collaborations were agreed upon, I heard his languid voice suddenly calling my name. Jiang Qian. Caught off guard, I stood up abruptly, saying loudly, "Present." A collective gasp filled the room, as if admiring my courage and the loudness of my voice. I felt everyone's curious gaze on me, heat climbing up my face. My face flashed with annoyance. "Oh no, please don't call me out in public." Meeting Yanjing's dark eyes, I smiled, looking more like a grimace, my voice getting quieter. "Present." Yanjing straightened up, chuckling lightly. "What are you nervous about? I'm not that scary." Another gasp swept through the room. I saw the employees of Yin Corporation exchanging glances, their faces unable to hide their shock, as if to say the boss was acting unusual today. I straightened my back, my gaze earnest. "What would you like me to do, Director Yin?" Yanjing casually began. "Miss Wen will be shooting an advertisement at our company. Would you like to be my assistant during this period?" Be his assistant, being close to Yanjing. My heart never settled. This must be a punishment for cutting off contact with him earlier. I didn't want such a thrilling life. Without hesitation, I shook my head. The employees of Yin Corporation's admiration for me deepened. Yanjing's expression remained unchanged. He simply raised an eyebrow and asked, "Why?" I carefully explained, "Because I have always been Wenwen's assistant. I've never been an executive assistant before, and being a star's assistant is different from being a president's assistant. I think I might not perform well, so I'd rather not trouble you." He nodded slightly. That's a good reason." I noticed a sparkle in Yanjing's eyes as he looked at me. "Right." I also thought my reason was flawless. However, Yanjing was unmoved, staring straight at me. "But no worries, I don't mind. I can teach you wherever you lack." I quickly added, "There's only one assistant for our artist in my house, and it might be difficult to adjust my working hours." Yanjing leaned back slightly, his gaze sweeping towards Wenwen as he spoke indifferently. "Does Miss Wen agree?" I turned my gaze to Wenwen. Given the industry rumors about Yanjing's stringent work ethic and his cold demeanor, she surely wouldn't be willing to let me go work closely with him. Catching my pleading look, Wenwen turned to Yanjing and patted her chest emphatically. "No objections, Mr. Yan has good judgment. Shallow's learning ability is very strong." Yanjing nodded in satisfaction. "With such sincerity from Miss Wen, our company will also arrange the best staff for her." I couldn't believe Wenwen had sold me out like that. "No, Yanjing is really intimidating." Yanjing just kept staring at me, making me uncomfortable. I wanted to say more, but he raised his hand, dismissing everyone else, and slowly said, "Let me have a word alone with Miss Jian." In the conference room, it was just Yanjing and me, his presence so overwhelming it was hard to ignore. Seeing that I remained silent, Yanjing leaned in and asked, "Jiang Qian, after all these years, are you still afraid of me? With such a handsome face in front of me, how could I possibly bear it?" I hurriedly averted my gaze and whispered softly, "Not afraid. Not afraid at all." Yanjing coldly chuckled. "You cut off all contact with me after high school graduation, didn't reply to messages, didn't answer calls. Jiang Qian, you're quite ruthless. I've spent years wondering what I did to make you mad." Looking at Yanjing's handsome face, it gradually overlapped with the memory of the proud Yanjing from before. The first time I met Yanjing was on the first day of our senior high school. At 16 he was incredibly arrogant. Back then, there were many rumors about him at school, not just because he was fierce and arrogant, but because he was good at both academics and extracurricular activities, and his family was uniquely prominent in Jing City. He was directly promoted from junior high to senior high with several schools vying for him, while I had struggled hard to get admitted into a middle school in Jing City. Logically, I should have had no interaction with him, but we met even before I entered the school gates. That morning, still groggy, I held my newly bought breakfast in one hand and a trash bag in the other, and without hesitation, I threw the breakfast into the trash bin. After a few steps, I realized the mistake, still clutching the trash bag in my hand. Before I could even feel annoyed, I turned around to meet Yanjing's deep gaze. He was carrying his bag over one shoulder, chewing gum, and walking expressionlessly towards the school, but he stopped because of my action. Yanjing was tall, and his school uniform couldn't hide his rebellious air. Many people sneaked glances at him along the way. Everyone had heard his name. I knew of him too. I heard that even the local delinquents who shunned education didn't dare provoke him. Because Yanjing was fierce in fights and fearless. After our eyes met, I quickly looked away. Didn't see. I didn't see anything, but he suddenly chuckled lightly, the teasing evident in his eyes. I knew he must have been laughing at my mistake with the breakfast, but I didn't dare ask him to stop and quickly walked away with my head down. Little did I know, he would end up being in the same class as me. And he immediately placed his backpack at the last row by the window. As soon as he entered the classroom, the seat by the window was a single, highly coveted spot. However, no one dared to choose the seat in front of Yanjing. Everyone was quite intimidated by him, because I got lost while looking for my class and arrived late. The only seat left was the one right in front of Yanjing. Clutching my backpack, I mustered up my courage several times and, facing Yanjing's indifferent gaze, I bravely walked to my seat. During those few short steps, I almost ripped the straps of my backpack. I figured if I didn't look at him, he wouldn't see me. Unexpectedly, Yanjing, propping his chin, lazily looked up and said, "What a coincidence, front desk." I stiffened instantly, pretending not to hear him, though my movements with my backpack were awkwardly stiff. He chuckled softly. "You're quite timid," I muttered under my breath. "Not timid at all, since I dared to sit in front of you." As I bent down to put away my backpack, I accidentally hit the chair on the desk, which started tipping towards me. Just then, a large hand reached over from behind and firmly steadied the chair. Yanjing's hand was large, the veins faintly visible, and the only thought in my mind was, "What beautiful hands." His cool, pleasant voice followed, "My name is Yanjing. What's yours?" "Front desk." I looked at him dumbfounded, my voice trembling slightly. "Jiang Qian. My name is Jiang Qian, on the first day of freshman year." Yanjing didn't seem to be in a great mood. It was said that he had almost finished learning all the high school material and was forced to attend school by his parents, who hoped he could experience a normal high school life. Initially displeased with this decision, he somehow ended up attending school dutifully every day. I am a timid person, and Yanjing, with his strong facial features and fierce look when not smiling, intimidated me so much that I didn't dare speak to him for a long time. Several times Yanjing seemed like he wanted to say something, but I ignored him. Finally, one day, as I was about to dispose of some trash, he grabbed me. "Let me throw that away for you." I gently pulled my clothes back. "No need, I can do it myself." He grabbed it again. "I'm closer. You don't even need to get up." After a few exchanges, he contentedly threw away the trash for me. Seeing that I was about to return to my exercises, he casually asked, "You're quite scared of me, aren't you?" Looking into his eyes, since he asked, I honestly nodded. He sighed. "What's there to be scared of?" I avoided looking at him and whispered, "It's just, you look scary." He clearly heard my murmur but only chuckled softly, asking, "What did you say?" I quickly covered up. Your tone is intimidating." Yanjing couldn't help but smile. "Okay, I'll speak more softly from now on, I truly got closer to Yanjing because of some local bullies from the neighboring school. In the afternoons after school, I often picked up empty water bottles from the sports field to exchange for money, which I used to buy treats for pets. There were many stray cats and dogs around the school, some even pregnant, and I fed them daily after collecting plastic bottles. At some point, I caught the attention of the bullies from the neighboring school when they cornered me in the alley. I had resigned myself to the possibility of being beaten, thinking I could just endure it, but when they tried to extort money from me, I couldn't accept that. I'm usually patient, but this time, seeing me tremble with anger, they took me lightly. What? Thinking of fighting back. "Don't make me get physical, just hand over the cigarette money for us all." It was then that Yanjing's cool voice intervened, coming from behind me. "Looking for trouble, are you?" Yanjing stepped beside me, his presence alone, one tall and one short. Yanjing watched the hoodlums with a cold gaze, yet his lips curled slightly as he murmured, "Front desk. What for?" "Don't get mad." I nodded, bent over and picked up a brick from the ground. Yanjing was startled. "Jiang Qian, what are you doing?" With the brick in hand and a determined look, I said, "I'm going to finish them off." As I stepped forward, Yanjing quickly pulled me back. Seeing my face turn red with anger, he chuckled softly and adjusted the slipping strap of my backpack. "Wait for me outside the alley." "No, just listen to me this time. I'll make them pay." A minute later, I obediently squatted at the corner outside the alley. The sun was half set, painting half of the sky red. It was beautiful. Accompanied by the wailing of the thugs from the alley, Yanjing slowly emerged, his school uniform and face speckled with dust. He didn't seem to care as he bent down to pick up my backpack. "Come on, I'll take you home." But I didn't move, glancing at the scattered empty water bottles and the torn bags in the alley, feeling a sting in my nose. I was upset. I had already picked up the plastic bottles for the day, and those little brats had messed everything up again. Seeing I hadn't moved, Yen Jing asked, still angry. I looked up, and he was taken aback by my reddened eyes, suddenly at a loss. What's wrong? He knelt down to tie my shoelaces carefully, feeling wronged. I shook my head. I haven't collected enough bottles today. He knelt in front of me, looking up. Why collect bottles? I need to buy treats for the stray cats. If I don't go today, they will wait for me. Perhaps not expecting this reason, his eyes softened. It's okay. I'll help you collect. Hearing this, I remembered the ripped big bag and broke down, my voice quivering with tears. The bags were torn apart by those brats. Jing hadn't expected my sudden breakdown and panicked. Don't cry. He then stood up, went somewhere, and came back with an even bigger bag, almost as big as me. From a distance, he called out to me, Jiangqian, look, this bag is big, you can collect more with it. Because of that incident, I seemed to be less afraid of Jing. To everyone's surprise, I was able to talk. So much with Jing, they thought I was brave. They never had a good face when they encountered Jing. Jing's grades were excellent, the best in all subjects in the grade, while I was very poor in math. Every time he explained problems to me, I barely understood. After he repeated explanations several times, he asked, got it, me, this seems, Jing, propping his chin and speaking in a nonchalant tone, Jiangqian, if you had any conscience, you'd pretend to understand by now. I felt hurt and silently pulled over my own papers. Then I'll ask the class representative, thinking I was joking. Jing leaned back casually. The coward is so bold now. Fine, go ask. I'll watch you ask. It was just a question. I was just socially anxious. He underestimated me, so I really took my papers and went to ask someone else. Jing had a scowl on his face that was almost terrifying as he stared intently in the direction of me and the class representative. Fine, you ungrateful little thing. A chill ran down the spine of the class representative who was explaining the problem to me. After that, whenever I encountered a problem, I went to ask the class representative, and each time, Jing's expression grew even sourer. Finally, when I approached the class representative for the 5th time with my questions, passing by Jing's seat, he suddenly grabbed hold of my clothes. What are you doing? I asked. Jing turned his head away, his tone awkward. Don't ask him, ask me instead. Please, I'm begging you. I don't know when it started, but Jing liked to call me a coward, and indeed, I was one. Because of my feelings, I became even more cautious, silently guarding my secret, too afraid to share it with anyone. High school was so short, just 3 years. I cherished every moment spent with him, but I knew on the day of our high school graduation that the story between us was likely over. He would go to the best university, and despite giving it my all, I still fell short by a long way. We might end up in different cities, starting new stories. To avoid falling too deeply, I was the first to cut off all contact with him, so, years later, I couldn't refute a single word of Jing's. What he said was true, and I didn't know how to explain my cowardice to him. After all, I was the one who ran away without any reason. My thoughts snapped back to the present. Seeing that I hadn't spoken, he, usually so cool and composed, scratched the back of his head in frustration, yet his voice was still gentle when he spoke. Jiangqian, about that video you posted. I looked up at him and immediately apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was you. Jing laughed bitterly, and I could hear the gritting of his teeth. What? So if it wasn't me, it would have been okay to post. I didn't know how to respond to that, because it seemed like my heart had always been drawn to him. Jing spoke again, about that video posted by an employee of Yin Corporation. When he mentioned the video that went viral, I looked up at him, assuring him knowingly, Mr. Yin, rest assured, I won't misunderstand. Jing was so upset he could barely stand, grinding his molars. Jiangqian, you can misunderstand. Misunderstand? What does that mean? Was what one said true, that Jing also had a hidden affection for me, but with such a gap between us? How could I presume to get close to him? I was stunned for a moment, then looked up at him and asked, that private account that mentioned you in my comments section? It's my secondary account. Seeing that I was straining my neck looking up, Jing crouched down, hands on his knees, looking me straight in the eye. I have nothing to hide. It's just me tagging myself, trying to reconnect with you, in front of you. I have no pride to maintain. As Jing paused, looking at me as if to confirm that I could accept what he was saying, seeing no unusual expression on my face, he continued, Jiangqian, we're both in our 20s now. We might have missed our chance when we were teenagers, but I'm afraid if we miss it again in our 20s because of pride, you might really end up marrying someone else. My heart trembled at that moment. There were so many rumors about Jing, but it seemed he only ever lowered his head in front of me. They never hid my origins from me because they believed I had the right to know. Being precocious, I was always well behaved from a young age. My current parents, who hesitate to spend an extra penny on me, would often say with empathy, Qian, the world isn't as bad as you think, don't live so cautiously, but I was like a withered tree that could never sprout leaves, grateful for everything yet only daring to root deeply into the ground, living a rigid and dull life. I feared the unknown consequences of even a single step forward. I lowered my head, not daring to look at Yanjing, but I'm so ordinary. Yanjing hesitated for a moment, then carefully took hold of my wrist with his large hand. Jiang. Qian, in my eyes, you have never been ordinary, otherwise why would I have thought about you for so many years? Yanjing was too close, his dark eyes filled with emotions I couldn't understand, so unlike him. His gaze burned me for a moment. He watched me patiently, just as he did in high school when explaining problems I couldn't solve. Be my assistant. If you don't know something, I'll teach you slowly. It won't be very hard. And if you're willing, let's give it a try. Seeing that I didn't respond, he tightened his grip on my wrist slightly and called my name, Jiang Qian. It's okay if you don't want to, I won't force you, but the bright expectation in Yanjing's dark eyes was undeniable. I looked up and met his gaze. The affection of our teenage years was something that couldn't be sought after easily. If it were so simple to give up, why would people always find themselves trapped by it? Some decisions seem to be made in an instant. God, I also want to give it a try, maybe one day in the future, I really will be worthy of this unspoken affection. After coming to terms with my feelings, I suddenly felt much lighter, and Yanjing didn't rush me, just waiting patiently. His breath enveloped me instantly, surprisingly pleasant, exactly the same scent I remembered from high school. The warm masculine scent made my cheeks flush. His eyes deepened a bit, as if he too was waiting for me to say something. After hesitating, I finally ventured, could you give me the link to your body wash? It smells really good. Yanjing was visibly startled, a certain emotion finally relaxing in his eyes as he straightened up and chuckled. Jiang Qian, you haven't changed at all. His laughter was brief and hearty, making my heart flutter. Yanjing raised his hand to cover my eyes, his voice low and husky. Don't look at me like that. I tilted my head back, asking through his hand, why, though my eyes were covered by Yanjing's hand. I could feel his gaze fixed on me. I heard Yanjing's low voice, because I can't stand it. Just as I was about to ask why, Yanjing's expression darkened slightly. He uncomfortably shifted his gaze away and let go of me. He turned my head in another direction, his handsome hand opening the door for me. All right, I won't pressure you anymore. Let Assistant Qin take you to find Wenwen. I stood at the door, hesitant to step forward. I had mustered up the courage to ask for the body wash link that I had wanted since high school. I reminded him in a soft voice, Yin classmate, you haven't given me the link yet. Yanjing burst out laughing. I'll buy it for you. I couldn't help but smile, grasping the doorknob as Yanjing sat back down, his eyes seeming a bit melancholic. I looked back at him, and as he felt my gaze and looked up, our eyes met, and my heart trembled. Perhaps even he didn't realize the hope in his eyes, like a little puppy eagerly watching me. I didn't respond to his question earlier, as he was curious about my answer but didn't dare to ask further since I had changed the subject. I softly called his name, Yanjing. What's wrong? Do you think it's worth considering? The role of executive assistant is completely new to me. Looks like you'll have to teach me. A spark lit up in Yanjing's eyes. Just as I was about to leave, he stopped me. Jiang Qian, with a restrained smile, Yanjing said, you know, I'm good at teaching. Just don't avoid me like you would a plague. After becoming Jing's assistant, he set up a small partition for me in his office. When I pushed the door open and saw it, I was quite surprised. Jing's office was usually in shades of gray, but he had made my partition very cozy, which was completely at odds with the rest of his office. Leaning on his hand, Jing's gaze casually swept over to me, capturing the expression on my face. He said lazily, it's not that I necessarily want to share a room with you, but given your introverted nature, you wouldn't be comfortable working with the others. As the boss, I have to think of everything, Assistant Qin would exclaim every time he walked in, claiming that Yanjing actually had obsessive-compulsive disorder. If an employee wore flashy clothes, it would greatly annoy him. That he could tolerate such a girlishly decorated partition in his office was unbelievable to him. It was as if heaven had blessed him. He couldn't believe it. Thus, Assistant Qin became increasingly respectful towards me, treating me almost reverently, even though he was my senior, and Yanjing was indeed teaching me earnestly. He taught me not only what an executive assistant needs to know, but I also learned much more from him. Standing in front of a room full of people, I found I could be less nervous, even capable of delivering work reports perfectly. Whenever I made even a little progress, he seemed as proud as an old father, as if our relationship had returned to the familiar days of high school. Yen Corporation had a large staff cafeteria that provided breakfast and lunch. I really liked the cafeteria, and coincidentally, every meal was exactly to my taste. I heard from Assistant Qin that Yanjing never used to eat in the staff cafeteria. First, his icy demeanor could frighten the employees, making them uncomfortable while eating. Secondly, Yanjing was picky with food and usually had meals specially prepared by a personal chef, but now, Yanjing and I had become a famous sight in the company's cafeteria. Yanjing seemed to enjoy watching me eat. His mood was always pleasant during our meals together, and with every bite I took, his smile grew wider, unable to be contained. Lately, more employees had started coming to the cafeteria. While eating, they would stretch their necks to look over at our table. Every action from Yanjing prompted them to exchange glances, exclaim, and then whisper among themselves. They found it novel to see such a side of President Yan. Gradually, I went from feeling uncomfortable to being able to face everyone's gaze calmly. I yawned and sat down. Naturally, Yanjing opened a cup of hot red bean drink and handed it to me, speaking in a moderate tone. Are your hands cold? Have a sip of this to warm them up. Thank you, Yanjing. As soon as my fingers touched the cup, warmth spread throughout my body. Yan Corporation employees, see, I told you, President Yan knows how to take care of people. As I held the cup firmly, Yanjing started peeling a boiled egg, frowning as he muttered, I really don't know why you like eggs so much, but the housekeeper says they're nutritious, good for growing. My face turned red. I was already in my 20s, and he still thought I could grow taller. Don't talk nonsense. Yanjing's lips curved into a smile. Here, I won't keep nagging. Finish your egg, and I'll peel another one for you. I took the egg, dumbfounded. Yanjing had peeled it cleanly. My gaze fell on him as he earnestly began peeling another egg. I knew how much he detested the smell of eggs, yet there he was, diligently peeling them for me. Every time I took a bite, he handed me a napkin the moment my hand moved. Each time I gestured, he would stand up, his eyes brightening. Do you want more? I'll get it for you. You're eating so well today. Your appetite has improved, Yan Corporation's employee commented. Did you see that, Mr. Yan is actually handling eggs. He has really grown. I saw it. Our Yan Corporation is getting better day by day. Miss Jiang is truly a blessing for our group. The food has improved, and Mr. Yan has become more humane. It's been a long time since he last snapped at me at work. From the day I arrived, there has been a pot of sensitive plant on Yanjing's desk, which he nurtures very carefully, Assistant Qin said. This is Mr. Yan's treasure. No one is allowed to touch it. Yanjing didn't seem like someone who would nurture plants, but he took great care of this sensitive plant. Out of curiosity, one day I finally asked him when he started having an interest in nurturing sensitive plants. Yanjing put down the documents in his hand and looked at the plant with me. When did I start? Back in high school. I was stunned. He started nurturing sensitive plants in high school. I was so close to him yet never knew he had this hobby. Yanjing held my index finger and gently touched the plant's leaves. His hands were cool, sending a ticklish sensation through my hand as he touched it. The leaves of the sensitive plant shrank. Jing was very careful, and his voice was soft. Look, doesn't this plant remind you of yourself? Timid and shy. I was just about to argue how it didn't resemble me at all when, upon closer inspection, I astonishingly found it somewhat true. Yanjing's gaze moved from the plant to my face, and he softly called my name, Jiang Qian. Although the sensitive plant doesn't bloom as boldly and brightly as other flowers, it has a very unique presence. There are so many people in this world who like sensitive plants, and I am just one of them. Our eyes met, and I felt a warmth from Yanjing's gaze. His voice was low as he said, You don't realize how adorable you look when you're shy. My heart was pounding rapidly, again and again. For some reason, at that moment, I felt like even a dead tree could find its spring, and Yanjing, with his normally mischievous expression, looked unexpectedly tender. The collaboration between Wenwen and Yan Corporation on advertising and products was drawing to a close. On the last day at Yan Corporation, Yanjing unusually asked me to work overtime. We worked until only the two of us were left in the company. Yanjing was still sitting at his desk, focused on the documents in his hand. However, he hadn't turned a page for several hours. Seeing that it was getting dark outside, I called out to him, Yanjing. He paused in his actions and looked at me, ready to go home. I'll drive you. As he picked up his car keys and stood up, I looked at the items on the desk that I wanted to take with me, so I said, Wait for me outside for a bit, I need to pack some things. Yanjing nodded and headed out. Okay, take your time, I'll wait for you. At that moment, his tall figure seemed a bit forlorn. After packing up everything, I walked out of the office with the items in my arms. In the hallway, Yanjing leaned against the wall, a cigarette pinched between his fingers, its tiny red ember glowing noticeably in the dark. Seeing me, he instinctively stubbed out the cigarette and apologized. Sorry, I couldn't help but smoke one. I quickly shook my head. It's okay, I don't mind. Leave the stuff on the floor, I'll pick it up later. I obediently set it down. Okay. During my time at Yan's, Yanjing had never smoked in front of me. There wasn't even a hint of smoke in his office, so I had no idea he smoked. Yanjing's eyes dimmed for a moment, and after the smell of smoke had dissipated, he approached me and casually picked up the items I had packed, we walked towards the elevator in silence. The short distance felt unusually quiet. Suddenly, Yan Jing stopped and looked at me. Jiang Qian, do you think Yan should collaborate more with Miss Wen? She seems quite influential. Yan Jing looked at me with hopeful eyes, as if he was the inscrutable Mr. Yan of business, whom nobody would dare to question. Hearing this awkward reasoning, I also stopped and said, Yan Jing. Actually, the words reached my lips, but I couldn't speak them out loud. We stood there face to face, neither of us willing to walk away, both stubborn to the core. Yan Jing, towering at 189 meters, hesitated in front of me, and suddenly a face appeared in the darkness between us. Wen clicked her tongue several times, unable to hold back any longer. What's the matter? You just learned how to talk. If you have something to say it quickly. I dare you to break my favorite ship. It's hilarious. I end up being the most anxious. Wen's sudden appearance gave me a big scare, and she hadn't even left, but her presence seemed to give me great courage. I looked at Yan Jing, nervously began, Yan Jing, I've had a crush on you since high school, loved you for many years. I lost contact after high school because I felt too inferior, believing that the girl worthy of being with you had to be exceptionally outstanding. Halfway through, I paused to study my emotions, but now I want to try, to see if I can take a small step to catch up to you, to reach a place where I might be worthy of you. If you are willing. I don't know why, but as I spoke, I felt like crying. Mid-sentence, I was pulled into his broad chest. In the moment he embraced me, moisture fell onto the back of my hand, a burning sensation in my heart. It wasn't mine, it was Yan Jing's. Jiang Qian, after high school, when you deleted my contact, I thought of 10,000 reasons why you might be mad at me. I am usually confident in everything, but I couldn't figure out why you were ignoring me. I could only think over and over about how to apologize to you, how to solve this issue so you wouldn't be mad at me anymore, and then maybe we could start over. My heart ached. I hadn't expected him to see it that way. I'm sorry. Yan Jing bent down, his face buried in my neck, his hot breath spreading through my body, his voice muffled. Jiang Qian, luckily you posted that video, otherwise how would I dare to approach you? I took the right bet. In the dark hallway, Yan Jing and I embraced each other. Wen wiped her tears on the side. I always said you two are meant to be together, such a handsome couple. In the naive years of my teens, I believed that liking someone was sacred. I thought I needed someone who could seriously say I like you, but during those vulnerable and fresh moments, I fell in love with someone I thought I could never be with, yet the person I never thought I'd have a chance with ended up being with me. Chapter 20 The word like seems simple to write, just a few strokes, a few lines, yet countless people in the world seem to start their stories with a crush. They harbor glances that are not too overt, and write letters that they dare not send. Even a fleeting glance can consume years of their lives as they steadfastly sketch out their love. Some love openly and without reservation, others meet amid the noisy cicadas, but no matter how the story starts, believe that at its end, even the barren mud will bloom with flowers. So, my friends, do not panic. It's just a fluttering heart. Be bold, for you have never ceased to strive. You, who stood tall in your teens, deserve all the sincere and shimmering love. End of main text. Bonus. Wen's perspective. Wen, finally playing a leading role, is tormented by a newly arrived actress with a strong backing, aging her prematurely. This woman, a tough character with powerful connections, started playing the innocent victim from day one. Wen didn't provoke her, so why the hostility? Finally, during yet another display of her split personality, Wen flipped the table, the crew gathered around as the woman, panic-stricken, apologized, blaming her inexperienced assistant. Wen, seeing stars in anger, flipped a chair, accusing the woman of trying to shift the blame. Tears welled up in the woman's eyes as she asked how Wen could insult her to her face. Wen, almost laughing in fury, threatened to make her grievances more permanent. The director intervened, unable to offend either party due to their connections. Furious and unwilling to swallow her pride, Wen decided to seek support from her friend, Yan Jing, only to find her in a minor squabble with Jiang Qian. Jiang Qian, I hate you. Yan Jing, I was just tidying up. You can't hate me. Jiang Qian hummed, I'm ignoring you now. Yan Jing chuckled, ignoring me again. All right, come here, let me kiss you. Wen wanted to die, as the sickly sweetness around her was more unbearable than the torment on set. She left in anger, not even eating dinner, her complaint unmade. At 9 in the evening, sitting on her balcony, she sighed heavily. Her phone chimed, a message from her ex-husband. Heard someone got bullied on set today. Wen scoffed and texted back dismissively, oh, what's it to you? Her ex replied, noting her bully's strong backing. Wen, with a cold laugh, typed, not as strong as you, Mr. Xiaoxiao. The phone rang immediately. Wen answered to hear Xia Yan's lazy, teasing voice. So you got bullied, heh? Wenwen snorted. What? You called just to mock me? It seemed windy on the other line as Xiangyan chuckled softly. Come downstairs. I won't. Her phone alerted her to a transaction of 200,000 yuan. Now, will you come down? Wenwen put on her shoes. Fine. You're rich. You have 10 minutes. Dressed in her pajamas, Wenwen descended, her eyes landing on the tall figure leaning against a black sports car, a cigarette loosely held in his mouth, as she approached. Xiangyan handed her a small pink box, a little cake. Wenwen took it. Xiangyan, what are you playing at? Xiangyan snuffed out his cigarette, responding indifferently, if you don't want it, just throw it away. As he spoke, he opened the car door with one hand and got in. Before driving away, Xiangyan rolled down the window and said, by the way, I've invested in that play of yours, and I'll join the crew tomorrow. Wenwen almost couldn't keep her composure. That woman was enough for her to deal with, and now her ex-husband would join in too. It was like her fate was sealed. Xiangyan glanced at Wenwen and his lips curled into a smile. What, did you think I was joining the crew to make things worse for you? Wenwen replied, what else? Leaning back in his seat, Xiangyan's voice was soft. I'm going there to take your side. Wenwen frowned even more, puzzled by his intentions. She blurted out without thinking, Xiangyan, have you taken the wrong medicine? Xiangyan didn't look at Wenwen again and started the car. No mistake, compared to your ambiguous friends, I'm not lacking at all. As he was about to drive off, Wenwen called out again, Xiangyan, don't play games with me like this. Xiangyan responded nonchalantly, what's there to be afraid of? I just can't let you go. Remember to eat the cake. We'll see each other tomorrow. Don't avoid me, you know, I'm the evil capitalist.